It's time to fight.
He's a much better boxer than even he believes he is.
You're surviving, you're trying to sneak a win, but you want every opportunity that you.
Good fighters, great fights. That's the mantra here at ProBox TV. Once again tonight, our Wednesday night fights here on your boxing channel come to you live from our world headquarters in Tampa, Florida. This is ProBox TV. We don't promote boxers, we promote boxing. And we get things started with a 6-round matchup in the lightweight division. Born in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, now training in Las Vegas. Trevor Thonson is 8-0 with 8 knockouts. His opponent, Willie Shaw, has earned 10 of his 14 professional wins by KO and has trained with the likes of lightweight king Devin Haney. Next up, an 8-rounder at super featherweight, 20-year-old Oscar Alvarez Jr. on ProBox TV tonight for the 4th time and looking to make a massive statement after suffering the first loss of his professional career. His opponent, Jose Arellano, fights for the 2nd time here on ProBox. He's also looking to put Brazilian Jonathan Cardoso in the rearview mirror. Our co-main event, a 10-round lightweight battle of unbeatens. Super Omar Salcido from Sonora is 17-0 with 12 knockouts. His opponent is Panama's Magnifico Jose Nunez, who is unbeaten in 17 fights and set to fight here in the U.S. for just the 2nd time. In our main event, scheduled for 10, is for the WBA Continental North America welterweight belt. 45th fight for 3-time world title challenger Pablo Cesar Cano, who turned 34 today. His opponent is the Puerto Rican fighting out of Brooklyn, Zachary Ochoa. And I quote, "I don't know if it's going to be a good birthday for Pablo." Hi again, everybody. I'm Mike Goldberg, of course, joined by my powerful partners, the Magic Man, the former 2-time world champion, Paulie Malignaggi, former world champion, Chris Algieri, 3-time world title challenger, Eric Morales, Sugar Shane Mosley, and Paulie Malignaggi. You fought him for a title, Pablo, years ago.
Yeah. Cano actually was a title challenger against me, and seems like forever ago, right? 2012, a solid.
It was
solid
October
boxer.
20th, 2012. It was forever.
Thanks for letting me know how.
You got it.
But you know what? A solid, fundamental boxer. He's really just gotten in his own way in his career. This guy was one of the harder punchers I fought in my career. Very good technically, good body puncher. He just can't stop eating, number one, and he couldn't make weight, including for my title fight, the fight he fought for the title against me. But has had disciplinary issues and whatnot. If he could just stay focused, when he's been focused, we've seen Cano get some big wins, like a 1st-round knockout of ex-world title challenge, ex-world champion Jorge Linares, who was a mainstay in the past decade and a half on the world scene. So Cano can give you a lights-out performance, or he can really disappoint you. Well, hopefully tonight we'll get the better version of him for the entertainment purposes.
And Cano, that big win you talked about against Linares, the big fighter on that card was this guy, Chris Algieri. You were on the same card that night, so obviously you know a lot about Pablo, but what about his opponent, Zachary Ochoa?
Now, you know, Zachary Ochoa, he's one of those guys. He may not have as much ring time experience as a veteran like Cano,
right?
But he's one of those guys, and Paul, you can attest this, in the Brooklyn gyms, he's been around for 15+ years. He has been in gym wars like you can't believe. He's very ready, he's very capable, he's tough, he's crafty. He's gonna need to be that savvy gym veteran here tonight in the ring to beat a guy like Cano who has so much experience.
He is Zungri, which is his moniker and his nickname. He's waited for many days for a big fight. He'll get one in our main event tonight against the veteran right here on ProBox TV. But we get things started with the 6-round matchup as promised, and a 6-round matchup that we expect to be very exciting. That's why we're starting it off on a Wednesday night on your boxing channel. And Willie Shaw is a guy who Chris and I talked about in our production meeting earlier, who will surprise you at times, or maybe not surprise those who know him. His opponent is unbeaten. Our tale of the tape. It is the 31-year-old against the 31-year-old Shaw, 2.5 inches taller, and he will have the reach advantage. So we get things started with Thonson and Shaw. And with the official introductions, here is Mark Lichtenfeld.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout is scheduled for 6 rounds in the lightweight division. Esta pelea está pautada a 6 asaltos en el peso ligero. Los jueces, your judges, Thomas Nardone, Dennis Dubon, and Joe Ware. Your referee, El Arbitro Frank Stantor Jr. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the black with red. En la esquina azul con pantalones negro y rojo, pesando 136.2 libras, weighing in at 136.2 pounds. His record, 14 wins, 5 losses with 10 wins by knockout, con record 14 victorias, 5 derrotas, con 10 por la vía del knockout. From Vallejo, California, please welcome Willie the Thrill Shaw. And fighting out of the red corner, wearing the red with white. En la esquina rojo con pantalones rojo y blanco. Pesando 136 libras, weighing in at 136 pounds. He is undefeated. His record, 8 wins, no losses, all 8 wins by knockout. El está invicto, 8 victorias, 0 derrotas, con 8 por la vía del knockout. From Toronto, Canada, now out of Las Vegas, Nevada, he is Trevor Thonson.
All right, guys, we had all the instructions from both your trunks where it's supposed to be to keep your blows here. Question, good luck.
Lightweight matchup to get things started. 8 wins, 8 knockouts for that man, Trevor Thonson. Willie Shaw, 14-5 in his professional career. Here we go. It's time to fight. Shaw comes out in the southpaw stance, black and red trunks, red and white trunks with the tassels being sported by Trevor Thonson, proud Jamaican. Fighting out of Las Vegas now, Trevor has averaged 2.6 rounds per fight. Tonight, his second fight scheduled for more than a few rounds. The 6-rounder here this evening.
See Shaw at length, he's trying to get that high look, that high guard, high look overall in this southpaw stance. But you know what? Thonson's doing a good job of shooting that jab down to the body so far. You know, not always easy against a southpaw to get your jab working.
Yeah, Shaw was actually a pretty good puncher, but I've seen most of his work at 140. This fight is being contested at 135. Let's see if he can carry that punch down.
Training in Las Vegas, determined to establish himself as a top contender. Back in full condition. Been in the gym with Devin Haney, the Vargas brothers, Diamond Figueroa, lots of other high-level fighters, Olympians. Can always find good training partners in Las Vegas, that's for certain.
Shaw doing a good job of keeping that proper distance. You know, even when Thonson tried to close that gap, he's done a good job of stepping just out of range, but not overcommitting to the defense. He's got to try to maybe look for that check right hook if he can get Thonson to lean in. Thonson's doing well, like working off that jab, though. He's just got to take a bit more of an explosive step, like right there, landing that jab.
Shaw's actually doing a really good job winning the lead foot battle there. He's keeping that lead foot on the outside of the orthodox Thonson very well.
Seems like Thonson's got to get maybe like a 6 inches closer. When he closes the gap, becomes just there. He goes right there. Just as I was saying that.
Yeah, I was going to say a little stutter from him or a double jab would be a good idea, using those feints to get in on the taller man.
It's so important to have that explosive first step in moments like this where there's two guys battling for that range position, you know?
Nice step over there from Thonson, cutting off the ring well on the taller man.
And this one, just to clarify, scheduled for 8 rounds, not 6. And so this is the second fight scheduled for 8 rounds for Trevor Thonson. Willie Shaw taking this fight on a week's notice, but he says he has been consistently training for years.
That's the shot that Shaw's been looking for, fighting from that outside. He's looking to unfurl that left hand as Thonson closes the gap.
And that might have been the best round of the night.
Best punch of the night.
Best punch of the night. Yeah, man, best punch of the round. best round of the fight, too. Yeah. This is the only one so far.
Sir, got you. No, you already know what to do. Use left hook, throw him in place, and shoot the right hand. Keep it traffic with the jab. But you got to step left to the right hand. Don't get caught inside his foot.
Bobby McCroy in the corner of Trevor Thonson. Greg Warren in the corner of Willie Shaw, getting set for round number 2. Red, white with the tassels for 8-0, 31-year-old Trevor Thonson, and Willie Shaw, 31 years old as well, in the black and red trunks. Southpaw stance once again.
Guys battling, trying to, you know, you see Thonson trying to give different looks, but he walked into another left hand there.
I spoke about that power of Shaw off the bat, and you're seeing it in that left hand. Doing a nice job being that long, tall, hard-to-hit guy to make you overreach, catch you with that power shot.
And there's a good right hand from Thonson. He's got to actually commit a little more on the inside, maybe put some more punches on the combination. He closes range nicely there. And the moments he does, he's got to take more advantage of it. He threw a nice double right hand about 15 seconds ago, but I'd like to see him come back with a nice left hook. Again, with a good double right hand.
Shaw has actually switched now into the orthodox position. It's actually helping Thonson land that hard jab and a good right hand over the top. There's that jab again to the heart.
Trying to get that offense going, as I mentioned, averaging just 2.6 rounds per fight. 8 fights into his professional career.
You got to take into account this is only Thonson's 9th professional fight. Willie Shaw just shy of 20. Well, this is his 20th fight. So a lot of experience on the side of Shaw.
21 rounds compared to 98. I guess it's 22 and 99. And round 100 in the professional career right now for Willie Shaw, who got into boxing in the 8th grade.
You know, Goldie, you are really good with those numbers, man. Thank you. You always got those numbers. And adding as you go. That's impressive.
Yeah. That's why I knew exactly when Paulie fought Cano. I should have done the time and date calculator. I'll do that before the main event, Paulie. See truly how long ago it was.
Oh, good left hand there again from Shaw. Timed that perfectly.
Shaw with some good eye-catching shots.
Oh, and a big one returned.
That was a foot.
5, 6, 7.
They're giving him the 8, though.
You see Shaw smiling.
The punch didn't land, but he was turning the other way, and he tripped over the foot. You're going to see the replay.
Now he goes back to the southpaw stance. Trevor has been on a fast track since turning professional. Turned pro January 7th of last year and had 7 fights in 2022. This is his second fight of this calendar year.
It's funny, Chris, you were saying that Shaw had done a good job with the positioning, but positioning was on the inside there, and as he tried to slide out, he took the right hand and went down.
So important to win the battle of that lead foot when you've got the orthodox southpaw.
Let's take a look at that knockdown that you talked about, Paulie. Was it a foot or was it the punch?
Oh, no. It was. He was on the outside. That was a good punch. His foot was on the outside.
It's a tricky. Yeah, there's a.
I mean, he's trying to step back, but I mean, his foot is on the outside. If his problem is his footing, it's his own bad footing, and the right hand helped him.
Yeah, it was a little glancing left hand and a right hand that kind of hit on the neck shoulder area.
It seems like maybe he had his back foot as he was trying to turn the other way. Maybe his back foot was off the ground, but either way, that's on him.
Round number 3, this lightweight matchup scheduled for 8 rounds. Jamaican background for Trevor Thonson, fought for Jamaica in the amateurs, lived there for 2 years.
Yeah, Willie needs to be careful not getting too tall on the inside. That's kind of why he got dropped in that last round. He did it again just there.
Man, you can see the compact power of Trevor Thonson.
Yeah, that's the thing. Shaw likes to keep up high, and that range that'll work for him. But on the inside, he's got to make that subtle adjustment, make himself a smaller target.
Shaw coming in on late notice, but he said he trusts his abilities, and he says he's more than what the eye sees. Let's see if he can eye an opening on Thonson's side and match that knockdown that he suffered in the last round. 1-2 from Trevor.
I think Thonson can start to take a little bit more control of this fight, you know? And it seems like that's what he's trying to do here. Trying to impose himself a little bit more physically. And put up those numbers, get those numbers up on the punches he's throwing. It seems like Shaw is sort of starting to be a little bit lax defensively on the entrance of Thonson.
Yeah, Thonson's headhunting a bit. He needs to do more of that, like that jab, stab jab to the body. But there's opportunities to throw the right hand and the left hook on the inside as well.
Which is interesting.
There we go.
That both of you guys mentioned that, because in the fighter interviews, Trevor talked about expecting Willie to be decent in rounds 1 to 4, but once he starts to punish the body, land a little bit, then he will slow him down. And maybe what he talked about pre-fight will be exactly what we see.
Not a bad idea for a guy who took a fight on a week's notice as well, to try and take him late.
Thonson known for putting on a thrilling show.
Nice feint there from Thonson.
Second 8-rounder coming off the longest fight of his professional career, a 7th round finish back in March. 40 seconds on the clock here in round number 3.
A little bit of a change here in round 3. It looks like Thonson is fighting more off the back foot, allowing Shaw to lead and trying to counter the longer man, which is, I think, a smart idea.
3-inch reach advantage for Willie Shaw.
Stop. Well, you're holding. Let's go. Watch.
He has switched his stance up consistently here in the first 3 rounds of our first fight on a Wednesday night here on ProBox TV. Thonson and many others unable to qualify for the Olympic Games due to the pandemic. He and many other boxers who had Jamaican ties went home to Jamaica and looked to make that Jamaican team and go to the Olympics. Instead, he turns professional.
Sometimes when you got another option to make the Olympics, see some of the replays from the last round. Sometimes when you got another option for a different representation, you know, you take it. And the more options you got to get into the Olympic Games, the better.
That replay shows exactly what I was talking about Shaw getting tall on the inside. Thonson just missed with that overhand right, but that's a shot that's going to be there if Shaw keeps making that mistake.
After the time in Jamaica, he went to Miami, trained at King Kong Louis Ortiz's gym, the proud Cuban who held the WBA interim heavyweight title back in 2015 and 16.
Yeah, Goldie, you had mentioned the sparring in Las Vegas. There's great sparring in Miami as well.
Yes. And his identical twin brother, Chan, is also unbeaten. Started boxing before Trevor. And his identical twin brother, Chan, going to be featured here on ProBox TV in a couple of weeks.
See Thonson really picking it up here in the start of round 4. Living up to what he said in that fighter meeting. Whoa,
big swing and a miss. Yeah. On cue, Chris.
Yeah, right. That just missed that right hand over the top from Thonson. Good move because Shaw has switched back to orthodox once again.
Shaw looking to mix things up. He has never been stopped, and before tonight had never been knocked out in his previous 19 bouts.
And if you notice, Shaw, regardless if he's southpaw or orthodox, he circles to his left, circling into the power hand of Thonson. Let's see if that plays out. Nice jab there from Shaw on the inside.
Again, both you guys talked about it. Shaw looking to utilize that reach advantage and keep that powerful attack of Thonson too far away to do any damage.
I mean, it seems like at times, like Thonson's either just a little bit too far or just a little bit too close. And he either, you know, gets him on the end of his punches or like right there, he's smothering himself. Oh, good little shots on the inside from Shaw.
Paulie, that analysis was right on cue because he was outside and he moved inside. I think he heard you.
But a lot of that, I think, is Shaw. Shaw is staying very, very calm. On the outside, he's taking those little hop backs, and on the inside, he actually steps in.
There it is again, and he is. I mean, Shaw obviously is adjusting defensively, but with Thonson, you want to see that adjustment back as well, because it's something that's been happening probably the entire duration of the fight.
Well, I know, Paul, you love feinting, and you like to see young fighters do, and I think that's something that Thonson could do.
And I think he's doing it. The problem is he's not as explosive off that step. You know, sometimes you can be explosive off that step, and also it gets a little awkward on the inside, like right there.
Yeah, those kind of situations, and I see a pull on his neck, I was just going to say, that hurts your lower back. When you got a taller guy leaning on you, and you get your head over your feet. Smile from Shaw when he gets hit with a slapping left hook.
That's why those taller guys like doing it.
Yep.
You probably.
That's what I used to do. I didn't go under punches much. I would go over.
Born and raised in Oakland. Tough childhood for Willie Shaw. Did not know for many years that he had 3 biological siblings, now does, part Samoan. And one of the biggest fights on his resume was against Jose the Prodigy Vargas back in April of 2021.
Yeah, I think I actually called that fight for Top Rank International. And that's where I remember Shaw did a lot of homework on it back then. Hurt Jose in that fight.
Yes.
At the end of the fight. Was thoroughly outboxed, but was able to hurt Jose. No, I'm sorry, hurt him in the first round.
We can't expect them to give us the post-make though. So remember, we got to throw a little bit more. Catch him a little cleaner.
Okay.
Good.
That's it. So I'm gonna keep it simple. I'm gonna keep the instructions simple. Counter that jab, catch hook, catch jab. Straight, bring your feet with the 1-2. That's all you need. There's no rocket science to it. Okay?
Our opener continues. Round number 5. Mike Goldberg, the Magic Man, Paulie Malignaggi, Chris Algieri, Willie Shaw in the black and red trunks, Trevor Thonson in the red and white with the tassels and the Jamaican flag. Knockdown in the second scored by the 8-0 fighter from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, now training in Las Vegas. Shaw looking to fire away, misses.
Yeah, even though Shaw taking this fight on short notice, showing some good conditioning, good awareness in the ring, and pulling that trigger quite well for the counters on the outside.
Yeah, he makes himself basically alive enough to where Thonson has to keep respecting him and has to keep really having respect for the ability to change range. And it's again, he's a little too wide. He's either too wide, too short on those shots. Thonson's also got to make sure he gets the adjustment on how he's throwing those punches, depending on the range he's at. I mean, he's close and he's throwing wide. He's far and he's throwing short sometimes. So he's still having trouble finding that. Maybe the consistency of work is going to win him these rounds, but something definitely he can work on.
I think a lot of that comes from experience. Like I said, less than 10 fights here for Thonson. Going to be learning a lot tonight, getting in with a veteran like Willie Shaw.
And his twin Chan is 15-0. And so when you get on the subject of identical twins, we think back to Saturday in the Charlos, and Trevor even talked about that he was happy to see Jamal show up and give his brother a hug. They had some stuff going on outside of the ring. Brotherly love, but not here. Shaw, no love. Round 5.
Thonson actually landed a good right hand, but he was the one who was hurt.
He got a big shot too on the way in. They might have landed at the same time.
Yeah, I think they traded big shots.
He walked right into Shaw's shot.
Shaw definitely got the better of that exchange.
Firing inside, 40 seconds here in the 5th.
In terms of scoring for Shaw, it would have been good if he got a knockdown there, but in terms of confidence, he might have got that back now.
Short notice, we're in round 5, but he still looks fresh.
Well, he's not wasting a lot of energy, Shaw. He's staying on the outside. On the inside, he's stepping in and smothering Thonson's attack. Let's see if he can keep it up in the second half of this fight. Still throwing big shots, obviously.
Double jabbed in that combination. And Thonson almost walked into another Willie Shaw punch. Take a look at that big shot.
There's that hook. There was the left hook there. And that's the thing. If you don't figure out your range issues, your opponent's going to figure them out for you. Look at his shot right there.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful shot in the temple.
And again, it's because Thonson's kind of steps in. See, he's out of range. He was throwing that little short left hook. He wasn't going to land the little left hook anyway. Shaw understands the distance he's at. Is able to put a nice left hook in there. But Thonson really, that's something he's going to have to take out of this fight and learn a little bit better. Because again, like I said, if you don't figure out your range issues, your opponent is going to figure them out for you, and that can lead to bad things as in the last round for Thonson.
And that was out of the orthodox position for Shaw, throwing a lead left hook. You know, majority of the power has been coming from that left hand from the rear side, but there he was able to hurt him with the front hand.
Mentioned in the open that he has sparred with Devin Haney, 30-0, 15 knockouts. Also, Jamel Herring, former WBO junior lightweight champion. So both men working with some of the studs modern day here in the sweet science as we have entered round number 6 of our first fight of the night.
A lot of blinking and wiping of the eyes from Shaw. Still landing that jab, though.
Southpaw and orthodox being showcased on frequent occasion tonight by Willie Shaw. So if you're Trevor Thonson, you got a new opponent about a week ago, And you think he's long, you think he's going to be orthodox, but he's going back and forth. And Paulie, as you talked about, Trevor's having a tough time finding the proper range.
Yeah, but like Chris the champ said, Shaw's having a tough time rubbing away that eye. I don't know what's up with that, man. Seems like it's bothering him. There it is again. See?
He's blinking both eyes, wiping both eyes.
I don't know if he's been thumbed or whatnot. Maybe he has the contact lenses he lost. Who knows?
He's still boxing well. Doesn't seem to be affecting his performance, but yeah, Shaw's just a tough style, man. He's switching sides a lot. He's got good power. He's got the experience to know when to step out and when to step in.
And before tonight, in 19 professional bouts, he had never been knocked down. And he has never been finished. Record of 14-5.
Good body jab there from Thonson. Smart when you got a taller man, that heart jab.
There's also no change of speed, no change of pace on the part of Thonson. He tries to give you the feints. He tries to give you this jittery, herky jerk. You know, try to close range and confuse you because he's confused himself on how to close range. But then everything he throws is hard. So Shaw is pretty much seeing all his attempts at closing range. And that's why Thonson's having a hard time getting in range. And this fight, for me, is close, man, because Thonson's probably doing a lot more of the work, of the overall body of work. But he's never really gotten comfortable getting into the proper range of landing the punches he wants to land. And then, like I said, one of the problems is he does all this, but then he wants to punch. He's always trying to punch at his hardest. And he never disguises or changes his speed like a pitcher does when he throws change-ups.
Talked about Shaw working with Haney. Trevor Thonson has as well. So our first fight of the night continues. Second fight scheduled for 8 rounds for 8-0 Trevor Thonson. Back in March, he was victorious in Panama City at the end of round number 7, which is forthcoming in our opening bout here tonight.
Corner there, Shaw, we saw them wiping the eyes. He kept asking his corner to continuously wipe, especially that right eye, it looked like. But
might have taken a grazing shot, or as Paulie said, maybe a thumb. Nonetheless, he continues to look for victory here in round number 7. Black and red trunks for Willie Shaw, red and white with the tassels for Trevor Thonson.
Shaw flashed a nice chopping right hand there. Looked like got the attention of Thonson.
Thonson well over the average of 2.6 rounds per fight.
Nice feint there, double jab, Thonson. And you're right, champ. I mean, it's about closing that distance. He's having trouble. He's either too far in or like that, or he's just short.
And that's because he's going at 100 every time he's trying to throw his punches and close the range. It's never anything subtle. And when you got crafty guys, like a guy like Shaw is, who's got experience, you got to be a little bit more crafty in your disguise on the way in. Okay.
Crafty's definitely a good way to describe Shaw's style.
Catches him low here, yeah. You can see it clearly on the replay. Shaw's okay, the fight continues. Shaw in the pocket, looking for that left hook again. That was the big one that scored for him a few rounds ago.
I'll tell you, Shaw's not like a guy who took this fight on a week's notice.
No kidding, right? But economy of motion and not throwing everything with full ill intention. He's fighting smart, Chris, which is a great way to counter if indeed you aren't in ideal shape.
Good shot on the inside there from Thonson as Shaw starts to wipe his eye again.
Maybe it's those braids hitting him in the eye.
I was thinking it might have been something to do with the hair, whether it was the braid itself or hair product coming out of the hair.
Keep your elbow down, no elbow.
It looks like it's just long enough to hit him right in the eye.
Stop, let go. Take a step back.
That's an unfortunate thing to find out as you're in the ring. It's like, oh, these are a little too long.
Tell me about it.
You've been there.
Stop. Watch behind the head. You come out. Don't hit behind the head now. Watch.
Final minute of round number 7. Close fight. The knockdown scored by Thonson in the second round could be very big with the math.
That was good work there from Thonson. A little feint and some good body shots on the inside. Some shorter punches there.
See, the more enthusiasm definitely shown by Thonson. And that could probably be the difference in the fight. When you mix it up with the knockdown he scored earlier in the fight.
He's definitely the busier man. He's pushing the action. A lot of times with judges, it's going to be what do you want, what do you like.
Final seconds of round number 7.
Stop. Stop.
Here on ProBox TV. 8th and final round coming up next.
You gotta steal it, bro. It's your last round. You got enough in the tank. Let's go.
Thonson began his previous fight recovering from a minor bicep injury, re-injured it during the fight, but still got a 7th round finish. 8th and final round. Red and white with the tassels for 8-0 Trevor Thonson. Willie Shaw in the black and red trunks. Very aggressive start for Thonson.
I think that's smart on his part because this could potentially be a close fight depending on what the judges like. Thonson has been bringing it on the last couple rounds. I think that's smart of him.
Big shot.
Yeah, he's shortening up those punches now, cutting off the ring well. And whenever he gets Shaw against the ropes, he's letting those hands go.
And of course, Shaw taking the fight on 1 week's notice now, you probably start to see the issues that it's bringing him. As Thonson's trying to turn up the heat a little bit and Shaw having a hard time getting into that gear.
Stop. Let go. Break. Step back. Take a step back.
If there is a slowdown for Willie Shaw, it didn't come after round 4, as Trevor talked about in the fighter meetings. But he's trying to take any doubt away on the scorecards here in the 8th and final round.
Yeah, Shaw a lot more defensive this round. Could be fatigue or could just be the onslaught coming from Thonson.
Or a little bit of both.
Or a little bit of both.
Longest fight of Trevor Thonson's professional career. Shaw's gone the full 8 in his last 2 fights. 90 seconds.
Not an easy opponent for your first 8 round.
It's also a step-up fight with a guy who can punch. Yeah, you see now even with Shaw, like he's looking to land and get out. He's not standing his ground like he was before.
Much more aggressive and consistent attack here in the 8th from Trevor Thonson.
Now, Goldie, did you say attack because it says attack on the back of his trunks?
I did.
Okay, I was wondering if that planted a little seed in your mind there.
There it is.
Stop.
As Thonson gains more experience, he's going to learn to maybe pick his shots a little better on the inside. That flurry stuff is a little bit amateurish. He's not really looking to try to place some shots, trying to just score. It also could be a little bit of frustration, and he just wants to make sure the judge is seeing him working. Right now, he's doing that, which is good work, but as he gets a little more experience, he'll probably start to learn how to place his shots a little more. A combination here.
Well, his team did say the first 4 fights of his professional career, Trevor outmatched his opponents on paper and then finished them quickly. This, the biggest challenge, and it's going to be the first time that he goes the distance. A swing to the finish.
That's how you finish a close fight.
You got that right.
And I'll tell you what, it might have even been Thonson who wanted to make sure he could do the 8 rounds because it was his first 8 round.
Absolutely.
He let it all go at the end, and I'm thinking to myself, where was this earlier in the fight? Because I feel like Shaw was showing moments where Thonson could have stepped it up a little more and dictated more of the pace. Maybe it was Thonson himself who wasn't trusting himself, being it was his first 8 rounder. And then when it's the last 30 seconds, last minute, he said, you know what? I got this.
Yeah.
I can let him go, and he sure did.
That's a good point.
We know what to work on.
And Paulie, when you're averaging 2.5 rounds per fight coming in.
Yeah, can't blame him.
Yep. But a really aggressive finish.
Yeah, and he was making the fight the whole night, guys. I mean, but he was, you know, Shaw's a tricky guy, but Thonson was making the fight the whole night. There are things to work on. She had a nice knockdown there. But ultimately, a good experience gotten here for Thonson. Good 8 rounds.
Listen, it's a tricky opponent. It's a step-up fight with a guy who can punch, a southpaw, a guy with a lot more experience. And like you said, definitely a lot of things to work on. But I think this is the kind of fight you need. Good learning experience fight. I thought Thonson looked good, especially as the last couple rounds started to wear on there. You see he got rocked a little bit from a left hook on the high in the head there from Shaw. You know, we had mentioned Shaw does have a good punch. And he flashed it there, but Thonson with that final round charge really put a lot of pressure on Shaw, was able to pin him against the ropes and let his hands go with real consistency throughout the round. And to your point, Paul, I would have liked to have seen him do that a little bit earlier. I think he would have had some success.
It's in the hands of the judges now. Scorecards are in. Here is Mark Lichtenfeld.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 8 well-fought rounds, we go to the scorecards. Joe Ware scores about 78-73, 78 a 73. Dennis DeBon and Thomas Nardoni score it 80-71, 80 a 71. El ganador por decision unánime, your winner by unanimous decision, Trevor Thonson.
Unanimous decision victory. Thonson moves to 9-0. Starting things out here tonight on a Wednesday on ProBox TV.
Well, sounds like the judges like the guy who was pushing the action, making the fight, like you said, champ.
And we will see his identical twin brother, Chan, in November. And Trevor talked about boxing being a lonely sport. His brother, a big sounding board with a lot of support. Coming up next, Oscar Alvarez and Jose Arellano. We talked about the Thonson twins, and of course, the Charlo twins were a big subject over the weekend as Saul Canelo Alvarez looked as good as he has looked in quite some time. He said he was healthy, and he said multiple times in the post-fight interview, nobody beats this Canelo. Was it deep waters, though, at times against Charlo? Only way to find out is from our experts.
Charlo wasn't the most skillful fighter. Canelo was more skillful than him going into this fight. It was a no-brainer, people. But when are we going to learn? I told you guys. I said, they're selling hope. That's what it is. And guess what? I'm going to start selling hope. That's what I'm going to start doing. Right here, I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to I'm gonna put some hope in this bottle for you. I'm gonna sell them $85.99 for you guys.
Okay, this guy never tried to win the fight. Canelo Bivol was a money grab. It was not daring to be great either. It was let's avoid Benavidez and let's go fight this guy for money and make it look like we're daring to be great and then not try to win the fight.
This guy's going to bring literally nothing, and he brought nothing. He didn't look good physically on the scale, didn't carry the weight well, didn't look like, he just didn't look imposing like he normally does. And Canelo looked like a goddamn tank.
With Jamel, there was less and less return coming. There was no enthusiasm in his attack. He was there just to go 12 rounds, and he knew that from the opening bell. He never went for it, and that, of course, hurts his reputation.
A lot of people's giving him a hard time, and I understand. Like, yes, he didn't show up. He didn't want to fight. I get it. But he signed on the dotted line for this, for the paycheck.
I really got to see Canelo. He looked great, absolutely, but he had someone in front of him who was a willing dance partner, if so to speak. But I got to see what somebody's going to give him some resistance to see if Canelo is truly back.
I saw the same Canelo Alvarez.
All right, well, Tim ended it perfectly for me to segue to you guys. You said he looked like a tank. Paulie, did you see a different Canelo Alvarez on Saturday?
I was satisfied with the performance. Listen, I get where Tim's coming from. You can't really get a proper gauge when you have no resistance coming back.
Right.
But based on what was in front of him, listen, Canelo looked good. I saw him, doing what I wanted to see him do. And after the fight, I also saw him enthusiastic about, really the future and saying that he still loves boxing. He still has that passion for it. And that makes me hopeful that he fights the winner of Benavidez and Andrade, because if he's got that passion and that burning desire, he's going to want to make the big fights that everyone wants to see and everyone gets all giddy about when they talk about them. And Canelo has that ability because he's so popular. Hopefully, he's giving it to us.
He gave it to us, in your opinion, on Saturday, right?
Well, I mean, this is why you guys got to tune in to ProBox TV. That was a little bit out of context. I was talking about what he looked like on the scale. He looked like a tank on the scale. Fight night, yeah, he looked good. I agree with Paulie. I was satisfied with his performance, with what he had in front of him. But if we're truly going to say Canelo is back, I got to see him against somebody who's going to put up some resistance.
But it seems, as Paulie talked about, the enthusiasm and the drive is back. He switched it up, went to train at high altitude with the family, right?
Yeah, it's all good. But it's nice. It's easy to be enthusiastic when you got a guy in front of you who doesn't want to fight. Show me the enthusiasm. Fight the winner, Benavidez, Andrade. That's a fight all of boxing wants to see.
That is the fight. We got Cinco de Mayo coming up. That's Canelo's next date.
Yep.
I mean, come on. Whether it's the all-Mexican clash of Benavidez or the very tricky Demetrius Andrade Bubo. I mean, they're great fights.
Well, he said it is Cinco de Mayo, his next fight, and he said he will not be beaten. This Canelo cannot be beaten. Only time will tell. All right, let's move on to our next matchup. It is an 8-rounder in the super featherweight division. Our tail of the tape, Oscar Alvarez, 20 years old. Weighed in at 134. He is facing off against a man we have seen here on ProBox TV as well, Jose Arellano. They are both coming off setbacks against the Brazilian Jonathan Cardoso at 20 years old, 74-inch reach. That is a 5-inch reach advantage over his opponent. New team, new trainer. He wants a different result tonight, does Arellano, with the official introductions. Let's once again get it to Mark Lichtenfeld.
Ladies and gentlemen, this next bout is scheduled for 8 rounds in the super featherweight division. Esta pelea está pautada a 8 asaltos en el peso super pluma. Los jueces, your judges, Jacob Rusk Sr., William Glover, and Thomas Nardoni. And your referee in charge, el arbitro, is Michael De Jesus. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the burgundy with white. En la esquina azul, con pantalones borgoña y blanco. Pesando 132.6 libras. Weighing in at 132.6 pounds. His record, 10 wins, just 1 loss, with 6 wins by knockout. Con récord, 10 victorias, 1 derrota, con 6 por la vía del knockout. De Ciudad Juárez, Chihuahua, Mexico. Please welcome Jose Dinamita Arellano. And fighting out of the red corner, wearing the white trunks, En la esquina rojo con pantalones blanco, pesando 134 libras, weighing in at 134 pounds. His record, 9 wins, 1 loss with 7 wins by knockout. Con récord 9 victorias, 1 derrota, con 7 por la vía del knockout. De Ciudad Obregón, Sonora, México, Oscar Alvarez Jr.
¡Vamos! Ya le dije todo en el rincón, en el lado y en el rincón. Toca ponte si quieres, si no, y para atrás del rincón.
Scheduled for 8. Oscar Alvarez Jr., no longer a teenager, fighting for the 4th time here on ProBox. 3rd time right here at our world headquarters. Here we go. It's time to fight. 2nd time on ProBox TV for Jose Arellano in the burgundy and white trunks. Got some tassels and some flash from Oscar Alvarez Jr. and his grandfather's name, Juan, on the back of his trunks.
I was really looking forward to this fight when I saw it on paper. And we've sat both guys on our air before. Both men have lost to the same guy. So there's a backstory here.
And the same guy never came back, Cardoso. We beat him both on ProBox TV. I haven't seen him since.
And he looked spectacular. Take nothing away from Alvarez, but Cardoso looked spectacular in the 3rd round finish back in June.
Well, he looked good against both guys, actually. Arellano, definitely put up much more of a fight. He went the distance, won a few rounds, but yeah, you're right, Goldie. He looked amazing in the fight against Alvarez. Stopped him on the ropes with some huge right hands.
This fight contracted at 133 pounds. The 20-year-old against the 28-year-old. 6.5-week training camp, started in Colorado, finished in Miami for 10-1 Arellano.
Arellano's doing a nice job boxing the taller man. He's maybe out-jab the 6'4.5" Alvarez already. That's what you want to do against a taller guy. Just because he's taller doesn't mean you shouldn't jab. And Arellano,
Alvarez wasn't any kind of a jabber at all in the past. At least now he's at least trying. But Arellano doing a good job boxing him and pressing him.
Well, I mean, I'm seeing more boxing out of Alvarez than we've seen in the past. And usually comes out just hanging.
He's at least trying.
Yeah. But let's see what happens when he gets hit.
It's being outboxed, but he's at least trying.
Yeah.
And it's a phrase that, Chris, you and I were talking about with high-level fighters before. When you do suffer a setback, and for Alvarez, it's young in his career. It's not what happens to the man, it's what the man does when it happens to him.
And when you've been fighting the same way for 600 and something amateur fights, it's not easy to just make the adjustments all of a sudden, So we got to see how Alvarez, at least he's trying to make the adjustments.
677. Allegedly. We're back to allegedly, Paulie.
Comes Goldie with the numbers once again. He's always got him on point. There's that jab down to the pit of the stomach. Great move against a taller fighter. Always makes me think of Floyd Mayweather, Diego Corrales. That stab jab to the pit of the stomach. Used it all night long to set up the left hook upstairs.
And the favorite combo from Alvarez is that right hook followed by the left. Final seconds of round number 1.
There's an attempt at that right hook there, Goldie, just as you said it.
Goldberg, the Magic Man, Paulie Malignaggi, Chris Algeria, Wednesday night on your boxing channel. ProBox TV, the corner of Alvarez Jr., his father, his trainer. And a new head coach for Jose Arellano. Round 2. Arellano from Mexico, now lives in Denver. Alvarez from Sonora. Alvarez looking to set up and utilize that 5-inch reach advantage that we talked about.
Arellano doing a good job using those eyes, coming in, aware of what's coming, closing that gap slowly, get behind that jab.
Yeah, he's crafty. I remember Arellano in the past fight that he was here for the fighter meetings talking about how he would have been a sparring partner for, I believe it was Shakur Stevenson, right, Goldie?
Yep, it was indeed.
So, you know, you can hang in those kind of training camps, you know what you're doing. You know?
And Mike Alvarado back in the day, too.
Alvarado,
yeah. Alvarado, yep.
Speaking of Denver, Mile High City.
There you go.
Mile High Mike Alvarado.
Yep. And also some work Jose Arellano told us with Terrence Crawford,
who also happens to train in Colorado a lot.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Might be why he moved there. Trying to get inside with that uppercut, just missed.
I see the attempt at the adjustments of Alvarez, trying to box a little more, but it's just, he just doesn't look comfortable. He's still throwing those shots too wide, which is what the problem was when he was being aggressive, was throwing those shots wide. Now he's sitting on the back foot, but he's still throwing shots wide, and Arellano's not really having problems seeing them.
Now, with Alvarez, he paused that lead hand.
Yeah, and also
authoritative at all.
There's also too much daylight in between shots, which of course happens when you're too wide from the shots, right, champ?
Mm-hmm. Also why we saw so many cuts in those fights that we had on our air. He was cut, I think, in 3 out of those 4 fights.
Yep. Started with the Polanco fight, the accidental cut in the 7th round that ended it under the left eye. Reopened, and a concern, and it's something that, Chris, you mentioned in the last few fights that we've called of Oscar Alvarez Jr. Can you really go in and not have that injury, if you will, in the back of your mind?
I mean, he was fighting so close together, you know, off of fights where he was cut. I was always concerned, like, well, how do we get sparring now if you got a cut over your eye and you're fighting, you know, 7-8 weeks later? Oh, good combination there from Alvarez on the outside.
He finally puts them together, and that's what I'm saying. Like, if he puts together a nice short combination, and he's got the frame where he can start to become a difficult guy to deal with.
See the red blotches on the body of Alvarez from those stab jabs and the right hands from Arellano.
Remember, we fight. Each round is a fight, right? Okay? Let's stay focused. Okay. Seconds out. Seconds out. Seconds out. Box.
Round number 3. Burgundy and white trunks for Jose Arellano. White and red trunks for Oscar Alvarez Jr.
Alvarez just short with that right hand. Switched to southpaw now.
Trying to remember if we've seen him switch to southpaw at all in his prior fights here on ProBox TV.
I can't remember either, Goldie. That's a good question.
But when we talk about that eye that was compromised, could be a defensive tactic, could be one just to confuse the opponent standing in front of him tonight.
Now, the last round and this round, Alvarez doing a good job of closing up those punches a little bit, punching a little bit shorter.
Yeah, and evading a little bit as well. And Arellano is now the one who has to make the adjustments, and I think he's got to start looking some feints. There's a nice little change of look. Shooting with a left uppercut, have to change and look a little bit, and that's what I think he's got to start doing. Maybe change the look, coming in behind some feints, as it's been Alvarez has made the adjustment now.
Arellano, a self-described counterpuncher. Midway point of round number 3. This fight contracted at 133, scheduled for 8 rounds.
Tough to be a counterpuncher, though, when you're fighting a guy who's 6'4.5" and moving backward.
Yeah.
So Arellano now has to come forward, change up his style a bit.
Yeah, and right here is where he's got to change. Look, he's at this range. He's got to change looks and use feints.
Oh, good shots. Both men landed. Alvarez landed a nice left hook, and Arellano came right back with a left hook upstairs.
That's the thing. You can't go straight back against a tall guy like that. He's going to reach you when you do that. Arellano making that mistake, and Alvarez following through.
You know, this is where Arellano does not want to be. He's hanging out in that mid-range, where he's a sitting duck for the longer Alvarez.
Yeah, champ, he's hanging out of mid-range trying to figure out how to close the gap. When you're hanging out of mid-range, you don't have time to figure it out. You gotta act, you gotta feint, you gotta change the look, and you gotta punch off those things.
Right here, this is where the Arellano does not want to be. With a tall guy, you gotta be either all the way in or all the way out. Not right there.
Well, you find out why he shouldn't be where he is.
And Alvarez already long and lean with that 5-inch reach advantage, but Paulie and Chris, he's really turning on those straight punches tonight.
And Arellano going straight back, he's going to get in the position to get himself hit, and that's what's happening now. Alvarez starting to find the range and getting comfortable.
And we know Alvarez likes to trade on the inside. Big left hook lands for Arellano.
Which he does a great job for a very tall fighter. Good round for Oscar Alvarez Jr.
Got some swelling over the left eye of Arellano. I saw him as he came back to the corner. I would assume from those chopping right hands of Alvarez, who landed several of them that round.
Llévalo al ritmo, no trae ritmo el morro, no trae ritmo. Con tus piernas, timing, nomás cuídate, ¿cómo te sentiste?
Here we see some action from that last round. The right hand was the story of the round for Alvarez. Here we see him really opening up after he landed some good shots on Arellano. And then moments after that, Arellano came back with a left hook. But very good round for Alvarez, fighting off that back foot, landing good right hands at that middle distance, and then following up as he backed Arellano up to the ropes.
10-1, Jose Arellano, 28 years old. Oscar Alvarez Jr., 20 years old, 9-1 with 7 knockouts. Round number 4. Both men coming off setbacks at the hands of the Brazilian Jonathan Cardoso.
Yeah, you see that swelling over the eye I was talking about. Ooh, good right hand there from Arellano. Backs Alvarez up for a moment.
Arellano fought Cardoso back in January on short notice. Alvarez fought him back in June and was finished in round number 3.
This fight's really starting to heat up.
Threw in the towel.
Yeah, Arellano's got to be careful because Alvarez is starting to time him on when he goes straight back. Seems like Arellano's trying to throw the punches and then step back. You got to step to the side against a tall guy like this. You can't just step straight back after you punch him. There he goes again, going straight back. And Alvarez is starting to find a home for that right hand more and more, guys.
And like you said, he's timing the shots as Arellano tries to close the distance. Alvarez starting to feel the confidence build.
We've had Alvarez at 6'3" in the past, guys. And now it's 4 months since we've seen him at 19, 20 years old. Yeah, you can have a growth spurt.
That was a great right hand by Arellano. I don't know why he didn't follow up, but you get what's coming to you when you don't follow up. He lets Alvarez reset the distance again.
He keeps getting stuck here. This is not where he wants to be against the taller man. He's still in range for that right hand.
Yeah, he allowed Alvarez to sort of reset after that. Now Alvarez, once he reset, you got to start all over again now. And Alvarez is doing what he wants.
Strong round 3 for the 20-year-old. Aggressive here in round 4 as well.
Alvarez showing some good in and out, upper body rhythm.
showing some evolution since we saw him in June.
This is what you want to see from a young fighter coming off a loss.
Yeah, really a different approach to the fight. I mean, listen, there's still mistakes he makes, but honestly, credit to him for trying to, you know, almost revolutionize his own style.
And still fighting a very tough guy. It's not like he's got a get-back fight here. He's got a tough guy in front of him who's here to win.
There are no get-back fights on ProBox TV, partner.
Yeah,
you know that.
You're absolutely right about that, Goldie. No B-sides here.
Nope. A-side and the other A-side. Final 30 seconds of round number 4. Mexico against Mexico.
Nice dig there.
Nice counter by Alvarez, right, champ?
Yeah, I mean, Alvarez, he's doing a good job fighting that middle distance. He's controlling that space. Like you said, he's got the timing. He's firing off his rhythm as well.
You allow him the opportunity to take those shots.
This super featherweight matchup continues. 9-1, Oscar Alvarez Jr., 10-1, Jose Arellano. ProBox TV, your boxing channel, 24/7, 365. With my powerful partners, the Magic Man, the former two-time world champion, Paulie Malignaggi, former world champion Chris Algieri, Mike Goldberg. Glad to be here with you once again on a Wednesday night. Arellano trying to do some inside work.
Oh! See, this is where Alvarez gets in trouble, when he gets tall on the ropes. Big right.
Arellano has to do now. He has to refuse to lose and force his way in and make this a physical fight. But again, he's at that middle range again waiting, and this is now what's going to cost him.
Yeah, you're right, Chip. Every time he lands a good shot, he goes right back to the middle of the range and looks. At this point, if you're Arellano, you got to think, I got to put my head on his chest and bang.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
And now it's Alvarez going straight back. Now it's Alvarez going straight back.
Michael De Jesus warning him on the headbutts, but an aggressive start to round 5 for Jose Arellano.
Well, it's what he needed to do. At this range, he's not being effective. He's getting hit on the end of punches.
Biting down on the mouthpiece, taking over. There was a moment earlier where Arellano was working inside on Alvarez, and Alvarez had a big smile on his face, and that smile quickly went away. And Arellano has continued to attempt to pour it on here in the 5th.
Arellano doing a good job this round.
Big round 3 for Alvarez Jr., good round 4. Arellano picked up the pace here in round number 5.
I told you, I was excited about this one for a reason. A lot on the line for both men.
Yes, both coming off the first loss of their professional career.
And Arellano having a good bounce back round, guys.
Big time. That was a great counter with that left hook finish, Paulie.
Good right hand early in the round, good left hook just now. Nice jab and left hook. This this is where Arellano needs to work.
And his timing has been excellent in this round.
And this is what it is right here. He's just got to force his way in. He's not able to do it in a crafty way. He's simply not good enough. So he's got to just force his way in. And when he does, it's what Alvarez is lacking now. Alvarez still doesn't have that ability to control range the way he wants to. This is sort of the first fight where he's working on these things. But you can force your way in on him.
We got ourselves a fight.
He's tired, man. Like the last minute and a half, he's tired. All right, don't let him take a break. Come on, combination. He's tired. You're in better condition. Sí, está en condición, Presión.
Second of 4 fights here tonight on your boxing channel. ProBox TV, Oscar Alvarez Jr., white and red trumps. Burgundy and white for Jose Arellano, who definitely just had the best round of this fight. Very aggressive in round number 5. This is round 6, scheduled for 8. Arellano, the 2018 USA Colorado State title winner at lightweight. Second straight fight here on ProBox. And again, aggressive inside.
And Arellano has the advantage here with the shorter arms.
And there was an opportunity to clinch there, and Arellano said, no way, and kept punching. That's what you want to see from a guy, like you said, champ. A guy, somebody who refuses to lose.
And the new team, new head trainer, since we saw him in January against Cardoso.
Yeah, last couple of rounds, I mean, he must have got some kind of pep talk in the corner last couple of rounds because he's come out with a new motivation. Oh, big shot. Alvarez stays way too up high. When the gap closes, Alvarez, it doesn't make the adjustment with his level.
And we've seen Alvarez get hit with clean shots. He has shown a good chin, even though he was stopped by Cardoso along the ropes.
Cardoso was an animal that night.
Yeah, he was really on fire.
Yeah. There's a very long list full of fighters that Cardoso would have finished on that night. He was just in the groove.
Big right hand from Alvarez lands on Arellano in the center of the ring.
And then Arellano returns a combination.
Whenever Arellano starts to wait at this range, though, Alvarez to make sure to take advantage.
Oh, good timing shot there from Arellano over the top of the right hand.
Alvarez landed a right a moment ago.
Both these guys very dialed in here in round 6.
Good counter shot there with the right hand by Alvarez. That stops Arellano's pressure in his tracks. But again, Arellano tries to close the gap, stays in that middle range. He's always going to pay for it if he hasn't realized that through almost 6 rounds now. He's got to get all the way in, like you said, champ, earlier, all the way out.
And all the way in is where he did a lot of his damage in round 5.
Also, whenever he pins Alvarez in the ropes, he's got to really let his hands go. That's where Cardoso had so much success against Alvarez.
Absolutely. It is every other Wednesday right here on your boxing channel. And in 2 weeks, Bulletproof is back. Bulletproof, Brandon Glanton taking on Carlos Fermenta. It is for the WBA Cruiserweight Continental North America title. Brandon Bulletproof Glanton had a big fight, a title eliminator against David Light right here in this building, then fought in Dubai. Now he is set to return to ProBox TV, and Fromenta will be a very tough opponent 2 weeks from tonight, right here on ProBox TV.
We see a big right hand over the top from Alvarez. We spoke about Arellano hanging out in that middle range. That's exactly where he doesn't want to be, and where Alvarez has had a tremendous success with that right hand.
Big difference between super featherweights contracted at 133 and the Cuban Demolition Man is a cruiserweight, but he is a big, strong Cuban as well. Carlos Fromenta, 6'3". His only loss came in his professional debut. That's in 2 weeks. Round 7. This one's scheduled for 8.
Good scrap so far. Both these men laying it on the line.
Again, gets in tight and does his work.
Corner of Arellano done a really good job with that swelling over his lead eye. Hasn't been a problem at all.
Arellano just waiting for those opportunities to work the body of his opponent. Right there.
You see Alvarez trying to time him with that uppercut too, though.
Whoa. Both men just missing big shots.
Yeah, Alvarez has to be careful giving up his highlight. That good hook there by Arellano. As again, Alvarez stays in too close. Up high, up high. Alvarez staying too up high.
But again, he's waiting. Lands a big shot and then waits in the middle distance.
Yeah, Arellano can frustrate you there with his lack of follow-ups after he lands a big shot. I don't know if it's a conditioning thing or what.
You know, we had mentioned all the guys that he sparred with. It's almost like that sparring mentality. You hit him with a big shot and then you kind of back off.
Oh! Backwards again. And he backs off again, champ. He backs off again.
And then nothing. And he lets Alvarez right back in the front door.
With a 1-1-2. Under a minute, round 7.
You couldn't really land a prettier right hand than that, though. That thing was right over the top.
And you guys know when the fighter shakes his head no, that means yes. It rocked it.
Good jab there from Arellano.
Arellano looking to go downstairs to the body of Alvarez once again. Very close fight. 30 seconds remaining in the 7th.
And I think Arellano's having a bit of an existential crisis here. He's got to break out of that mold of a sparring partner and take this fight.
Like Ray Beltran was able to do, right?
Exactly, become a world champion. Oh, good try again with the overhand right, a little short.
The second half of this fight, we have seen a totally different Jose Arellano.
Great right hand. Great right hand there by Arellano. And what did he do? No follow.
Looked at his work.
8th and final round.
Pose for the picture after. And that was only one of the big right hands he landed that round.
Alvarez Jr. comes out firing. Jose Arellano happy to return.
How else would this round start to end the fight?
And you see the difference there. Arellano, instead of going straight back when Alvarez attacks him, he counters right from where he's at. That's the difference between success and not. Nice over the top right hand, over the top of the jaw.
Answered by Alvarez.
That's it. Dig in, boys.
I'm loving this.
Just another Wednesday night on ProBox TV.
What a scrap. What a scrap. Back and forth, ebbs and flows.
Right hand by Alvarez, combination by Arellano.
Trading power shots back and forth. Control switching. Oh!
And a sharp one too by Arellano, man.
You want to leave the impression in the judges' minds, being the man in 5 to 8.
That's what I like to see from Arellano. He cut that corner, got on the side, and then threw that punch around in front.
May mask what the judges remember from 1 to 4. And again, trying to put his opponent in the corner.
Smart of Arellano here to be more physical on the inside. Push the young Alvarez back and fire.
He is 8 years older.
Hey, man strength is a thing.
No question. Good left hand from the southpaw stance for Alvarez Jr. Long 1-1-2.
Both these guys are in incredible shape. I will say that. I mean, they're throwing big bombs here in the 8th round.
Alvarez trying to hold on the inside, looking at De Jesus to break him, but De Jesus is like, bro, Arellano's the one working in there. I'm not breaking you. He sets it up the same way. Sets it up the same way. And doesn't follow it up the same way.
We've seen that exact series 5-6 times.
Big swing. 30 seconds remain.
Whoever doesn't win this fight is going to look at this and be like, I should have done that. I should have done this. So many opportunities for both men to assert control. Can we do an extra round? Because this is a lot of fun.
No doubt about it.
We might need one if you know, this draws out of the question here.
No, not at all. This has been a great fight, back and forth.
They go the distance.
Excellent effort from both guys. Really, really good fight.
Coming up next, our co-main event of the evening, Battle of Unbeatens. Omar Super Salcido, 17-0 with 12 knockouts. His opponent from Panama City, Magnifico, Jose Nunez, 15-0-2, 7 finishes in his professional career. It's scheduled for 10. It's a lightweight matchup coming up next. Alvarez's work in round 3.
I mean, this is one of those fights. I'm not even going to try and score this fight. These guys are going back and forth. Great shots landed from both men. There we see a big right hand from Alvarez over the top, which was consistent. But I mean, both men were consistent in terms of landing big shots. Not a lot of follow-up really from either man throughout the night, which is, I know, got Paulie Malignaggi over here a little frustrated. But what a fight. Both guys really laying it on the line. This is what ProBox TV is all about. Guys who understand what they need to do, going for it every step of the way. Fantastic conditioning from both guys. The 8th round was a barn burner from start to finish.
That right hand, Paulie did say it was one and done, but that right hand found a home quite often in the latter part of the fight.
Both guys think they won, too. I can see in their body language here as they're waiting for the decision.
All decision wins for Arellano have been unanimous. Let's see if that stays the same. Let's see if indeed he is the one with his arm raised, or is it Alvarez? Here's Mark Lichtenfeld.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 8 hard-fought rounds, we go to the scorecards. Jacob Rust scores the bout 77-75, 77-75. Thomas Nardoni sees it 78-74, 78-74. William Glover scores it 79-73, 79-73. El ganador por decisión unánime, your winner by unanimous decision, Jose Dinamita Arellano.
I just mentioned it a moment ago, all of his victories by decision decision have been unanimous, including his victory here tonight.
One of the big reasons why it's important to close out strong, you definitely saw that Arellano got credit for the late rounds.
Yes.
It seems like early on the judges maybe weren't so sure of the way they were going to score. Sometimes I think maybe they don't want to score every single early round for one guy, even though he might be winning them. I think this was the case tonight, except for the first judge. The first judge actually ended up with a 77-75 card, which made sure that Arellano won the fight in the last round.
Right.
While the other judges seemed like they already had the decision made before the last round.
79-73. I don't see that.
Yeah.
In either way. I mean, I just don't see that.
But the impression left in those latter rounds is the same concept of finishing those last 10 seconds of a round to try to steal them in the judge's eyes.
And it's also important to close any fight strong, and Arellano did that.
And we talked about the adjustment that Arellano made because he had some trouble in those middle rounds. Came back in the second half of the fight, definitely made those adjustments. Still, it was still a back and forth fight. But I mean, listen, ultimately, you know, I would probably say the right guy won. But I mean, 79-73, I can't see that.
Yeah. Our co-main event, our battle of unbeatens here on ProBox TV, is coming up next. Coming off a weekend with one of the biggest fights, because anytime Saul Canelo Alvarez fights, it's a big fight in the eyes of the fans. We now go to our feature, many of our features on a daily basis, our big fight preview.
I think Smith really, you always want to hurt a guy if you can, but it's probably important to hurt him because I don't know if he's going to outwork Ramirez. Ramirez throws a lot of punches. I mean, with that, you know, you go by that punch, whatever that is, to punch that thing. Those guys usually have to ice their fingers after Ramirez fight because he's busy. He's busy. Not as good a puncher, Smith, but a guy who can out-hustle you and outwork you, and you want to try to avoid that by hurting a guy.
Yeah, Teddy, I agree 100% about, you know, being a southpaw, because I think that's a really important aspect of this fight. You know, I was doing a little research this morning on Joe Smith, and all of his big fights are against orthodox fighters. You know, he's got Fonfara, Hopkins, Bivol, Jesse Hart, who is a mutual opponent with Ramirez, and later Alvarez, which is the fight that gets looked over. I don't know why. I mean, he was an excellent fighter, and Joe starched him. Vlasov, you know, Jafar, Beterbiev, all righties. None of the top guys that Joe has ever fought has been a southpaw. And Ramirez is a good southpaw. He fights well from that position. Like you said, he's a very, very busy guy. He's tall. He's long. He uses that jab well. One thing that I would add, though, is the body. Ramirez is actually a very good body puncher. He was able to stop Sullivan Barrera with a body shot. I don't think Sullivan had ever been stopped before prior to that.
Our tail of the tape for this, our co-main event of the evening, going with the theme that you just had, Chris Algieri. It is the southpaw, Jose Nunez. 23 years old, 5'7". His opponent from Panama City, Orthodox fighter Omar Salcido, 24 years old, 5'7.5". The reach slightly goes to the side of Salcido. This is our co-main event of the evening, scheduled for 10 rounds. Once again with the official introductions, here is Mark Lichtenfeld.
Ladies and gentlemen, this next bout is scheduled for 10 rounds in the lightweight division. Esta pelea está patada a 10 asaltos en el peso ligero. Los Jueces, your judges, Dennis Devon, Joe Ware, Jacob Rusk Sr., and your referee in charge, El Arbitro, Frank Santor Jr. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the camouflage, en la esquina azul con pantalones camuflaje, pesando 134.8 libras, weighing in at 134.8 pounds. He is undefeated with a record of 15 wins, no losses, 2 draws with 7 wins by knockout. Él está invicto con récord 15 victorias, 0 derrotas, 2 empates con 7 por la vía del knockout. De Panama City, Panama, Jose Magnifico Nunez. And his opponent fighting out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks, en la esquina rojo con pantalones negro, pesando 134.2 libras, weighing in at 134.2 pounds. He is also undefeated. 17 wins, no losses with 12 wins by knockout. El también está invicto, con récord 17 victorias, 0 derrotas, con 12 por la vía del knockout. De Hermosillo, Sonora, México, Omar Super Salcido.
No, don't.
15-0-2 against 17-0.
All right, guys. All the rules in the dressing room. You know all the rules, right? Trunks are here and here. Keep your gloves on the trunks or above. Question mark? Go.
Panama City's Magnifico, Jose Nunez, and Sonora, Mexico's Omar Super Salcido.
This one is banger written all over it.
Yes, indeed. Here we go. It's time to fight. As I mentioned, Nunez, the southpaw. This is his 4th straight fight against an orthodox opponent. Tonight, it is Omar Salcido.
Oh.
Black and silver trunks for Salcido, the camouflage trunks for the southpaw, Jose Nunez.
Yeah, I watched some video on Nunez, and you know he's a kind of a wild guy. He comes in, he throws some big shots. He's explosive, a little bit tricky in his movement. We're seeing that right away in the opening round.
Seems to be a theme as we continue to grow our brand here on ProBox TV. These young fighters who have sparred and been in camps with some of the stars of the sport right now. The Panamanian has done camps in California with Sebastian Fundora. Fellow southpaw.
Stop, stop, stop. You can't hold your glove out. You can't hold it. Box.
I don't even know the little rules in it. If you can't keep your hand open, but if your hand's closed, you're allowed to keep it out there like that. I don't know. Nunez is closing his hand.
Yeah, some refs don't like that idea of fighters posting out. I've actually been warned for that a few times myself in my career, but
I always thought the rule was your hand can't be open and do that. I mean, Shakur Stevenson makes a living off that.
I'm not. Yeah, that's always at the discretion, different from ref to ref, but I don't really see a problem with it. I mean, open hand I can see because you get a thumb or a finger, but
yeah, Nunez's hand is closed. Nice left hand there, set up by a decoy right hook by Nunez. And Salcido looking a little bit stuck in the mud. He's the kind of guy who needs to set his feet to throw punches.
Yeah.
And so Nunez doing a good job of moving around and keeping him from setting his feet.
Yeah, from what I've watched from Salcido, he wants to trade. He wants you banging back and forth. Nunez is boxing quite well right now. Compared to what I've watched on tape, he's looking very, very smooth here. I think he understands what he has in front of him.
Big swing and a miss, but he follows up with the right hand. Tonight, the first fight here in the United States for Sonora, Mexico's Omar Salcido.
Nunez is putting everything on every punch so far.
Yeah, it looks like almost like nervous energy, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's only got 7 KOs in his 17 fights, but he's certainly not acting like it.
Last time he fought a Mexican, it was for the WBO Youth Featherweight title 3 years ago, and Panama's Jose Nunez was victorious.
Nunez just walks Salcido into a straight left hand, very short punch.
Pero si vas demasiado parado, te vas a descumbrar. Tienes que estar pintando, picándolo. Preparo y la bajo. ¿Sí me entiendes?
Y otra cosa, actívate, está muy parado, está muy...
Family affair in the corner of Salcido. His brother Herman, his father Alvaro is the chief second, and the cut man for Salcido is brother Alfredo. And you heard at the end the advice of the corner of Jose Nunez. Round number 2. The southpaw from Panama City in the camouflage trunks. Sonora, Mexico's Omar Salcido, now living in California.
Seemed like it was a feel-out round for Salcido, coming out with a little more assertion here in round 2.
Nunez trying to make a concerted attack to go to the body early on in this round. Didn't see a lot of that in the first round.
It was a smart idea to get to the body early of a puncher.
Good return with the uppercut. Magnifico just trying to find his timing, but more so his spacing, right, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, Nunez he's a tricky guy. He throws punches from odd angles and with a lot of intensity. Kind of guy hit you with a punch you don't see, and those are the ones that hurt.
2-inch reach advantage for Super Salcido. Proud of his Sonora lineage. Big fan of Juan Francisco Estrada.
Big right hook over the top there from Nunez.
You've seen some reddening on the face of Salcido from some of those hooks and attempted hooks of Nunez. Obviously, some are getting through because you're seeing some bit of redness in the left cheek of Salcido. Good body shot there as well from Nunez. He's just a little sharp early in the early going.
Right after that lead uppercut connected, Paulie.
You mentioned Sonora, Mexico, Goldie. I mean, I feel like everyone there can fight. If you're
yeah, if it's Yori Boy or Castillo, Oscar Valdez, or some guy named Julio Cesar Chavez was pretty good too, right?
I feel like the lady making your soup at the local restaurant could fight too. If you're from Sonora.
And win.
Yeah, right. Oh, man, these guys are swinging bombs.
Magnifico coming from all those different angles that you guys talked about.
Yeah, changing levels really well, getting low, firing from those positions. Tricky, tricky guy.
Neither man has tasted defeat in their professional careers. Both of them with 17 professional bouts coming into tonight.
Wow, notice how square Salcido gets on the inside.
And Nunez is catching on to that, Jim. You know, he's throwing some the uppercut to both to the gut, to the solar plexus, and he's trying to shoot it up the middle to the head as well. When you're in the opposite stance and you get a guy coming at you and pressuring you, that backhand uppercut to the gut is always a good shot. I remember Vasily Girov used to do it beautifully.
Good call out there, champs. Vasily Girov. We see that big slapping hook there from Nunez, just pulling the trigger a little tighter, a little sharper, fighting well up from the outside and landing those awkward little shots. There we go. You talked about that, Champ, as Salcido gets square. That one wasn't to the body, it was actually to the chin, but well-timed shot as Salcido got square on the inside.
And that's what Salcido's gonna have to be careful. He keeps pressing from that square position like that. Those uppers between the hands are gonna come to both that head and body like that.
Well, I like what Nunez is doing. He's coming out with that slapping right hook, and he's moving Salcido into the left hand. That shuttle punch, that uppercut that you're talking about, will be a really smart, there it is, really smart weapon.
Lightweight matchup here tonight in our co-main event. Just the second career fight at lightweight for Jose Nunez. His first and only at 135 was a September 2018 first-round knockout victory. 10 fights at super featherweight, 5 at featherweight, and he went up in weight classes January 28th of this year to super lightweight.
I'll tell you, for Salcido, Nunez is really, really pesky. He just can't corner him, he can't trap him, can't get to him with a clean shot. You can see Salcido trying to up the pressure a little bit, but he just can't get in a position where he can land a clean shot.
And look for Salcido, see if the frustration sets in, if he can keep his cool.
There's that uppercut to the gut again.
Well-timed shot.
And Magnifico again, very bladed. Oh, starts that attack out with those tricky punches.
Telegraphing too much is Salcido. He's got to be able to do a better job of disguising those punches.
Come on, guys.
Well, you know what it is, Chip? He's starting to get hesitant because he's getting hit with these shots that he's not seeing. Specifically that right hook upstairs. Even when they're partially blocked, they're heavy.
Salcido.
That's what happens when you get square.
7, 8.
And the frustration trying to force shots. Nunez with the game face. Not the puncher in this fight, but what a knockdown he just scored.
Setting it up beautifully. That right hook, man. Well-timed, good placement. Just seems like he knows what he wants to do.
7 knockouts for Nunez, 12 for Salcido. But we can see Panama's Magnifico packing some power here tonight. Scores the knockdown here in round 3.
But you can see the hesitation from Salcido. He's not throwing that big power like I've seen him in past fights. Nunez has turned himself into the puncher tonight.
Second fight in the United States for Nunez.
Big left hook from Salcido over the top. Gets the attention of Nunez. Woo!
Watch for that uppercut again.
Slick stuff on the ropes.
Pesky Nunez for Salcido, man. And it's not just peskiness, he fires back too, which is what's making Salcido hesitant.
And he does it with intensity and looks like he has power too. I mean, he just scored a knockdown in that last round for that left hand that we've been talking about.
Right on the mouth, right in the mouth.
He's loading up that left hand, bang!
Right in
and
the
you
mouth.
look at the feet of Salcido, completely square. He throws that right hand, he falls forward with the right foot. Look where he is, boom. Hits on the chin, falls to his butt. When you're square, even if the shot doesn't hurt you, which I think that one did, put him on his butt.
Regresa que lo vas a encontrar desarmado. Regresa que lo vas a encontrar desarmado. Coge aire, quédate ahí todavía.
Third fight.
Quédate ahí todavía, tírame los pies, quédate ahí todavía.
Against a fellow unbeaten opponent.
Respira profundo. Bien a la mano.
For a second, I thought it was Cesar Francis in the corner.
He's been hitting the gym.
It kind of looks like him.
It does a little bit.
It sounded like him too.
Been hitting the gym.
Showcased here on ProBox TV a couple times. Francis with one of the biggest highlight reel knockouts that we have had here on ProBox TV. Mike Goldberg, the Magic Man, Paulie Malignaggi, Chris Algieri, Wednesday night fights on your boxing channel.
Salcido trying to get out there with more intent here. He must have got a pep talk in the corner.
From his 2 brothers and his father, Paulie.
A pep talk
in his corner.
Or a tongue lashing.
Sometimes it's one and the same, channel.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Second straight and second career fight scheduled for 10 for Jose Nunez. But we're early on here in round number 4.
And I'm going to say I really like, actually I love it, the level changes from Nunez. He gets low, he comes up and under, he steps around.
And Salcido can't keep up with it because he's got to plant all over again every time, and he gets frustrated.
Oh, man, loading up with that left hand once again.
A lot of fights at super featherweight for Nunez. They're both 5'7". But Salcido's just got more of an upright style, which Nunez has actually taken advantage of, Chris.
I mean, it looks like Salcido's a little taller, but like you said, stylistically and stance-wise, Salcido looks like the much taller man.
But boom, great versatility on the part of Nunez. Salcido has to plant every time he punches, while Nunez can shoot shots on his turn and good body shots.
Body shot. That was a nasty shot. That's that one you were talking about, that Vasily Girov left-hand shuttle punch to the center of the stomach.
Great level of athleticism shown by the Panamanian, and he just missed with that lead right hook.
Listen, if this kid's in shape and can keep this up, Salcido's in for a long night.
And the confidence of Nunez continues to grow, and why not?
I mean, yeah, the confidence to wing shots like that over and over again. But that's the thing, when you have that advantage with the footwork, that body shot is nasty.
And he keeps flipping the fire. And then he switches it to the head. Switches it over to the head afterwards.
Yeah, Salcido's having trouble figuring out where that's going.
If he wouldn't be so square, he wouldn't have to figure out where it's going because it wouldn't be there.
That uppercut just missed.
Every time Salcido throws that right hand, for number one, he loads up. But two, he falls forward with the right foot and gets super square on the inside.
Paulie, is Salcido connected with anything that has caught his opponent's attention?
Not really. I mean, he's trying, but it's not for lack of trying. He keeps trying to up the pressure, but not really been able to land clean on the pesky Nunez.
Some of his handiwork again.
See, watch Nunez as he rocks back. You see, and then he rocks back on to get out of the way of Salcido's counter. Look, you punch and then you think defense right there. Exactly the way you're taught to hit and don't get hit.
Beautiful.
Nunez defines it right there in that replay.
And he did it all on the ropes.
Yep.
Pulled back just enough to make his man miss and not too much where he got caught by the rope. Classy stuff from Nunez.
Mira, cuando le metes el hombre que le estás metiendo por el centro, sácala y métesela en cross. Métesela en cross. Sí, eso es.
Corner of Nunez, telling him to cross him up. Brother Herman, Brother Alfredo, Father Alvaro in the corner of 17-0, Omar Salcido. Our co-main event of the evening. Scheduled for 10 rounds. This is round number 5.
Salcido putting a ton of pressure on. Start this round. That's a good right hand.
So his corner thinking the same thing I was asking you, Magic Man. Has he connected with anything of significance? And Omar knows he's got to turn it up.
Yeah, you've got to try to kill the confidence of Nunez. And Nunez's confidence growing every round. And that's going to make him even more difficult to deal with.
Salcido's still dangerous. He's throwing big shots here.
Yep.
Salcido making that decision. He goes, man, I'm getting hit anyway. I might as well stand and trade. If I'm going to get hit, I might as well hit him too.
Interesting to note that 11 of the 12 knockouts scored by Salcido have come early. 4 in the first, 4 in the second, 2 in the third, 1 in the fourth. We are in round number 5. That does not mean he can't add one in 5, 6, 7, or 8. He does have one 8th round finish.
Let him go. Come on, great.
But Nunez is taking the fight away from Salcido so far in our co-main event.
Stop.
I always say when you fight a puncher, there's 2 things you got to do early. Number 1 is make them miss so they become hesitant. And number 2 is touch that body every chance you get. sap that energy from the puncher. Make him hesitant, make him weak.
Don't push him down.
Second fight in the U.S. for Jose Nunez. His U.S. debut was January of 2021 at the Mohegan Sun. A majority draw against the Armenian, Aramavagyan. A fight that, not surprisingly, Jose felt that he won.
I watched that fight earlier this afternoon, and I mean, this is a whole different Nunez. He was wild in that fight. This fight, he looks like a crisp, smooth boxer. Very, very different guy.
Look at us on the same page again, powerful partner.
And you throw shots like that, you got to be confident too.
Yes.
To have the willingness to load up in front of a puncher like that, the way Nunez is doing, he's going in confidence. He's got to be careful not to get overconfident.
I mean, it's been one-way traffic all night long. He's just too slick.
The slickness, the athleticism, and the ever-growing confidence from a good 5-6 rounds already from Magnifico. Definitely showcased here.
And as you said, champ, the peskiness.
Talk about the confidence of Nunez throwing these big left hands. Look at it, right in front of the puncher. Even the puncher returns a hook. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. He's looking to load up again and again. And you can see the eyes of Nunez, how focused he is. When you got guys opening their eyes wide like that every second of the round, they're under extreme concentration.
Well, even now, he just jumped out of his corner. He wants to get back in there and do more damage.
4-fight knockout streak for 17-0 Omar Salcido. This one in the 6th. And the Panamanian has been close to perfect in his attack thus far.
Yeah, if Salcido doesn't start making adjustments, he's going to need a knockout to win this fight.
I mean, we're already halfway through, so we're getting there. That's another thing Nunez does really well. He blades himself off at the right times to slide out of those big punches like that. And always in position to fire right back. Hey, good leg strength there shown by Nunez.
Yeah, he's got his game face on, man.
Yeah.
He's in the zone.
Right to the center of the ring, towing the line. Look at him.
Again.
Hey Goldie, in your notes, is there any wrestling background for Nunez?
I'll tell you what, I have a feeling there is, and if there isn't, I'm going to make it up right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to make him a purple belt in jiu-jitsu.
Because I'm noticing the way that he's stepping in, penetrating, and cutting those corners.
Yeah.
Those are classic wrestling moves. Ooh. I don't mean pro wrestling. I mean,
no, I know
scholastic
you mean the real wrestling.
I know you know, but just making sure the people at home are listening.
Stop. No punch.
Like the Dan Gable wrestling.
Yes,
The
scholastic.
Coach Kale wrestling.
Yeah. Olympic style wrestling.
Yes. And again with that left
The crazy thing is, in the stance, in the look that Nunez gives you, he's only looking for a left hand.
Yeah.
I mean, at what point does Salcido start to realize that as well? Yeah, he's bladed, so he's a little bit more of a difficult target. But literally, the attack, the dangerous punches all come from the left hand when he's in this stance. When he stops blading off, he can throw a right hook. At times he does. But when he's completely bladed like that, dude, you can only throw a left hand as a dangerous punch. Salcido still can't figure it out.
40 seconds. Now that you bring up the wrestling, I think about that compact and bladed movement and the striking. I know Nunez is a southpaw, but he reminds me of the way that Jose Aldo used to strike in his MMA career. Very bladed, very sharp, very determined. big swing and a miss by Magnifico.
Nunez straightened out the left hand that time. Landed a big one there, goes back to the hook.
Break. Second straight, second career fight, scheduled for 10 rounds for Jose Nunez. And so far, so good.
Nunez looked at his corner and winked on that tie-up.
Respira. Suéltalo seco. Está agarrando con el vamos a tener que darle mucha presión, güey. Te vas a cuidar de la izquierda de él, pero vas a tener que hacer combinaciones largas, constantes. Volver a la media y otra vez combinaciones de 4, 5, pasar, atacar, enfocar los 3 rounds, no lo vamos a enfocar. ¿Oíste? Vas a tener 3 rounds para ir y atacar. No vas a perder tiempo en quejarte, te lo vas a quitar de encima, vas a ser agresivo con combinaciones. Vas a volver a la media y vivo y otra combinación. Y si se mueve vas a seguir, pero vivo y otra combinación. 3 rounds después vamos a darle.
Corner of Salcido talking about more combinations. His brother Herman in his corner, and don't give Nunez time to set up. You become the man that's the pressure fighter. Salcido trying to do that early here in round 7, but again, big punches land from Nunez.
Beautiful step around and underneath the arm of Salcido in order to land that right hook. Listen, it takes 2 to clinch. You don't have to clinch.
I mean, Salcido, the problem is he's trying so hard to get to Nunez, and then he gets to him, and then Nunez smothers him, because Nunez has the quicker feet. He steps in, he steps out. Look, Salcido trying to carefully get his way in there, but he's so careful.
There's your wrestling.
More MMA?
Yeah. Takedown. Round 7 of our co-main event, Battle of Unbeatens.
The pressure's starting to wear on Nunez now.
Salcido maybe feeling a little spur of energy.
Well, Salcido told us his best punch is his left hook to the body, and he just connected with that left hook to the body of his opponent.
Nasty left uppercut. You're right, champ. That's the only punch coming from that position is that left hand. Really good body shot there from Salcido. Right hand.
First half of this 7th round, as good as we've seen from Omar Salcido so far in this fight.
You can tell. I gotta talk faster. I was gonna say you can tell when he's looking to throw right hooks. He changes his body position, and sure enough, he gets more square to throw right hooks, and sure enough, he throws the right hook.
Looking for the finish here. Again with the right hook.
Wow, big shots. Oh, look down, throw up, throw the shot up. That was nice.
Salcido is in all kinds of trouble.
Salcido's so hurt.
Nunez looking to defeat the undefeated.
Let him go. Come on, guys. Let him go.
Salcido looks bewildered in there. Aside from being hurt, he doesn't know where the punches are coming from.
That right hook was picture perfect.
Hey, Salcido's tough, man. He didn't see that punch coming. He went down hard. He got up, and we're still here.
And he scores the knockdown.
That's a jab.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You got hit.
Off a jab, because he's throwing the left uppercut. He got hit. After missing it, that's a balance shot, but it's a punch.
Certified banger, like we said.
You got that right.
You see, I was just gonna say, you can tell that was a left hand there from Nunez.
Oh, I love that step around.
This was actually the beginning when he was bullying Salcido on that step around you had mentioned in the beginning of the round, champ. Then you can see he gives you this look. Actually, he misses the right hook first.
Boom.
Salcido walking right in, throwing the right hand with the opposite hand down. Fundamental stuff that is done wrong. Look, he dropped that left. Oh, that was actually the jab.
That was a jab. That was legit.
That was his.
Let's see if the feet got tangled.
He kind of misses it, and you see what it is. He's on his back foot, and the jab kind of pushes him more on off his back foot.
He throws everything into every shot. So that left uppercut was thrown. He got hit with a jab. He went down. That was a legit knockdown. He wasn't hurt, but it was a knockdown. Probably scored.
The feet were tangled.
10-9 round.
The feet were tangled just about 3 seconds before the knockdown of Nunez, which is why Nunez was shaking his head, Chris, but we could see on the replay, one knockdown each, and they come firing in the eighth.
Nunez came out like he wanted that point back. Salcido just landed a big shot upstairs.
Yeah, and Salcido trying to continue the pressure now. Maybe he's got some confidence now after scoring the knockdown. Maybe it's not as strong of a knockdown, but Salcido has reason to believe in himself now. His feet, though. I mean, he crosses his own feet as he's coming forward. I mean, he's got so many problems trying to close the gap.
Battle of unbeatens in our co-main event.
Here comes the big left. Oh. Straightened it out that time.
There you go, come on.
Salcido's latest finish of his 12 knockouts was in the 8th round. We are in round 8 right here, right now.
He's still throwing bombs here. Oh, good change up there. Salcido's expecting it high.
Don't punch, don't punch.
That was that left hook shot to the pit of the stomach.
And Paulie, to your point, Salcido getting that knockdown to answer the one of Nunez last round. He does look a little lighter on his feet, a little more energetic here.
It gives him reason to believe.
Holy, caution, stop.
He's behind in this fight. He needs to make something happen. And he feels like, you know what, I got to knock down myself. I made something happen.
Salcido going to the body here on both sides. First a left hook, then a right hook. That's smart of him. But his feet, man, just so square.
They are putting on a show. Salcido again trying to apply pressure.
Nice combination upstairs from Nunez.
When we talk about Nunez being pesky, you see how he changes his height. As Salcido arrives, he changes his height. So Salcido can't get an anticipation of where Nunez is going to be.
Got caught there. Not a lot of damage done, though. Salcido trying to score here late in the round.
Getting a little rough on the inside here.
Another thing Salcido's got to do, every time Nunez dips like that, he just got to lean on his head. Push his head down. Eventually he'll break that habit because you get tired if every time you dip in and step in.
Mike Goldberg, the Magic Man, Paulie Malignaggi, Chris Algieri, co-main event.
Porque si no, lo dejas trabajar, pues, para este lado.
The corner of Salcido.
Esto lo vas a agarrar. Pero más frecuente y te vas, ¿ok?
The corner of
Uno, dos golpes y te
Nunez.
vas, ¿ok? Que vienen dos, hay que ganar estos dos.
Nunez's corner saying, hit him and get out of there. Round number 9.
Stop. Okay, stop.
Clash of heads. Hey, man, it is lefty versus righty. We haven't seen too many of them.
Uncharted territory for Salcido, as this is the first time he's been scheduled for 10 rounds. Nunez coming off a 10-round unanimous decision victory back in July. No knockdown there.
Nunez taking his time getting up. Would not be surprised if fatigue was setting in here. All the big shots that he's thrown all night.
Just the pace of his movement has been so impressive.
That too, Goldie. Nunez has been working very hard, offensively and defensively.
One would assume that Nunez is safely ahead on the scorecards, but anyone who assumes something taking place in the squared circle has not watched a lot of boxing over the years.
Good left hand sharp shot from Nunez.
Great, there you go.
Round 9. Midway point.
And you can just see the feet. The feet of Salcido is what's really frustrating to watch because they're so bad. And Nunez has such smooth movement. And it's really made a huge difference. I mean, look at the way Salcido tries to close the gap. He gets all squared up. He steps with the wrong foot first. All kinds of a mess going on with his feet. And with a guy with quick, smooth footwork like Nunez, it's really, really costing him.
Also the awareness of Nunez. He's seeing all that, and he's calculated with what he's doing and reacts very quick.
And of his 17 professional fights, Salcido has had limited experience against southpaws. Nice left hook lands for Salcido.
Man, if he had limited experience, this is like the worst kind of southpaw.
Yeah, you got that right.
There's a lot of different kind of southpaws you can get experience with. Man, Nunez is a very not typical southpaw. What's the word, champ? Atypical?
Atypical is actually
it's
correct.
common.
Yes.
No, it's not common, right?
Not common, yeah.
Well, that's the one I'm trying to say.
Atypical,
He's an atypical southpaw. Oh, good hook there by Salcido. It doubles it up.
Woo. Lands left, goes right underneath.
English, we go to Algerian mathematics. Paulie, you come to me.
Yeah,
absolutely. I got my bases covered.
There you go, partner.
History, you go to Paulie.
That is very true.
Big shot over the top from Nunez with the straight left, and he straightens it out every once in a while and has good success with that.
And he catches Salcido as Salcido's looking to throw a left hook to the body from up too high.
That was actually a better round for Salcido than we've seen, but still Nunez landing big shots like that one.
First fight against an opponent from Panama for 17-0 Omar Salcido. 15-0-2 Jose Nunez. 10th and final round. The southpaw on the camouflage, black and silver for Sonora, Mexico's Super Salcido, who starts the round out aggressively.
I love this. Both guys going for it. Big right hook from Nunez, catches Salcido.
Salcido's corner knows that Omar needs to turn it on here in the 10th. Maybe score a knockdown or a knockout.
Stop, don't punch.
I'd like to see Nunez go back to that lead right hook that was landing so well in the early rounds and scored that knockdown a few rounds ago.
Starts with the left to the body. And he's so good at turning that over, Chris. Just the plethora of angles in which Nunez delivers punches from. Well, it's fun to watch.
You know what it is, Goldie? He's a 3D fighter. He's up, he's down, he's left, he's right. He steps around the corners. Oh! it's not just linear and lateral. It's up and down, too.
I'm writing that down right now. Linear, lateral, up, down.
3D.
There you go.
3 dimensions. Oh, there's that right hook.
Yep. And we're past the midway point of the final round. Battle of unbeatens.
Salcido's tough, man. He's still trying. He's just completely outmatched and outskilled here. And Nunez not holding on either. He's not trying to get to the end thinking he has it in the bag. He's fighting.
I was thinking the same thing.
And still throwing punches with intent.
Yep.
Step back. There you go. Come on, guys.
Oh, another connection. Well, those camps in California with Sebastian Fundora certainly paying off for Panama City's Jose Nunez.
I've heard stories about those camps and those sparring sessions. Not particularly with Nunez, but the Fundora camp in general.
But you can see where he would fit in perfectly.
Oh, yeah.
10 seconds.
Got to be in dog shape to be in those gym wars.
The performance of Nunez was magnifico.
I was thinking that if the physique of the coach was any indication of the shape that Nunez was going to be tonight, it was going to be good.
Coming up next, it is our main event of the evening. The former 3-time world title challenger in his 45th professional bout against Zachary. The Puerto Rican fighting out of Brooklyn, New York, with a record of 21-3 for the WBA Continental North America welterweight belt. Our co-main event.
And certified banger from start to finish. Awesome performance from Nunez. I mean, you name it, man, he did it. The offense, the defense, the slickness, the peskiness, which is my new favorite word of mine that Paulie Malignaggi introduced me to tonight. The overhand lefts, the right hooks, you name it, this kid did it tonight. He was consistent throughout. Never got lazy on his defense either. Was very, very smart. Knew what he had in front of him, came prepared. That right hook was a thing of beauty. Salcido showed the heart of a champion to get up from that shot. Came back still trying to win. Scored a knockdown in the same round with a jab. A flash knockdown nonetheless, but a knockdown is a knockdown.
Salcido never stopped trying. He just, sometimes it's not a matter of will, it's a matter of skill. And Nunez had more skill.
And put on a master class tonight. I mean, he knew what he wanted to do early on and just stuck to the game plan all night long.
Yeah, very disciplined performance.
And great condition, too. Throwing bombs like that from 1 through 10.
Two weeks from tonight, Bulletproof is back here in our world headquarters of ProBox TV for a cruiserweight main event. Brandon Glanton, 17-2, fights for the 4th time on ProBox TV, seeking his 18th win and 15th by knockout against the 6'3", 25-year-old Cuban demolition man, 12-1, Carlos Fromenta, whose only loss came in his professional debut. That's our main event 2 weeks from tonight. Scorecards are in. Here is Mark Lichtenfeld.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 bomb-throwing rounds, we go to the scorecards. Jacob Russ sees it 95-90. 95-90. Dennis DeBon scores at 98-87. 98-87. Joe Ware scores about 98-89. 98-89. El ganador por decisión unánime. Your winner by unanimous decision, Jose Magnifico Nunez.
All right, right, so disclaimer, the right guy won. I'm not even going to start to ask how they got to those numbers. I don't even want to know.
I think we had that discussion already.
I don't know.
That math I do not understand.
Goldie, go check those scorecards, man. You gotta look those over.
The important thing is the right guy won.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
When I heard 95, it's usually 95-95. I was like, what?
95-90.
Yeah. What about 98-87? How do you get there?
So, but also 95-90. How is that a 5-point fight in any world?
I don't know.
Wow.
That's why I said one would assume, but do not do it. Coming up next, our main event of the evening, Pablo Cesar Cano against Zachary Ochoa. It is scheduled for 10 for the WBA Continental North America welterweight belt. Our main event on ProBox TV coming up next. Welcome back to ProBox TV, our Wednesday night fights. Outstanding performance by the Panamanian a moment ago, winning by unanimous decision, remaining unbeaten, Jose Nunez. All right, Paulie, I did the math. 131 months, 15 days ago, 4,002 days ago, 10 years, 11 months, 15 days ago was your title fight against Pablo.
That long, huh?
It was that long. I'm sorry, I know that hurts. It's a body shot.
We're getting old. But you know what? It's better to get old than be dead.
That is true. That is true. And you were victorious that night. And then on another card, Chris, Pablo was on the same card as you were, Madison Square Garden. You got a victory. He's a guy who's been around and very, very tough.
And he's still fighting in here in front of us, and we're calling the fight, which
I guess that's fair, right?
That's boxing, man.
Yeah, that is boxing indeed. And he's taking on a Zungri guy, and that is Zachary Ochoa's nickname, Zungri, a guy who's shown to be so good that it's tough to get fights, but he's got a big former world title challenger tonight, so a huge opportunity.
Yeah, huge opportunity, huge, and a step up. I mean, he's been fighting a lot of top prospects lately, so this is, but this is a different kind of fight. You know, a guy like Cano with so much experience, he's going to have to dig deep tonight to pull out the victory, but a bit of a crossroads fight. You know, who's going to go up from here? Where does the loser fit in to the picture from here moving forward? So a lot on the line for both men.
And for Pablo, this is his 45th professional bout, and tonight is his 34th birthday. That's a busy man.
Hey, you know what? You celebrate better when you win, so we'll
this guy's
see if
only
he can.
34?
But today.
Yeah, he was very young. I remember when I fought him. But Ochoa says it's going to be a bad birthday
Well,
for
with
him,
my
so.
math, he was, I don't know, with like 13, 14.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Like I said, it's better to get older than the other option.
You got that right. And for Ochoa, I mean, 21-3, an opportunity like this against Pablo, it's the kind of opportunities that we've talked about before, either a former world champion or a former world title challenger. That's a big step for a man who wants to be in that position down the road.
Oh, this is ProBox TV, man. This is what we have here, especially in a main event.
Yeah.
You know, either guy can get a win here. Both guys understand what's on the line, what the trajectory of their career can be from here. But a loss here I mean, again, everything's on the line here. Both these guys know that. Everyone who comes to Pro Box knows that, which is why we get such good fights.
And that's why Zachary said, I don't know if it's going to be a good birthday for Pablo.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, Ochoa, listen, Cano has the official experience on the record, right? But Ochoa, having grown up in those New York gyms, has a lot of experience with some savvy championship-level fighters in the New York area. And it shows in his fights. He's not an easy guy to deal with.
Our tail of the tape for this, our main event of the evening. Mexico City, Mexico's Pablo Cesar Cano, as we mentioned, turned 34 today. His opponent, the Puerto Rican, fighting out of Brooklyn, 4 years younger. Everything else is virtually identical. Main event, scheduled for 10 rounds for the WBA Continental North America welterweight belt. With the official introductions, Mark Lichtenfeld.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. 10 rounds in the welterweight division for the vacant WBA Continental North American title. Está en el evento principal. Pelea patada a 10 asaltos en el peso welter para la vacante Campeonato Continental del Norte America de la WBA. Los jueces, your judges, William Glover, Thomas Nardoni, and Dennis DeBon. Your referee in charge, El Arbitro, Michael De Jesus. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the green with red, en la esquina azul con pantalones verde y rojo. Pesando 141.8 libras, weighing in at 141.8 pounds, with a record of 21 wins, 3 losses, 7 wins by knockout, con récord 21 victorias, 3 derrotas, con 7 por la vía del knockout. Brooklyn's in the house from Brooklyn, New York, Zachary Ochoa. And fighting out of the red corner, wearing the black with silver, en la esquina rojo con pantalones negro y plata, pesando 141.6 libras, weighing in at 141.6 pounds. With a record of 34 wins, 8 losses, 1 draw, with 24 wins by knockout, con récord 34 victorias, 8 derrotas, un empate, con 24 por la vía del knockout, de Atizapán de Zaragoza, México, the ex-campeón mundial superliguero, the former world super lightweight champion, Pablo Cesar El Domador Cano.
Come on. Ya le todo el rincón, en el vacuum y en el rincón. Ya show you in the vacuum and in the corner. Don't want to see it. So go to the corner and now go back in the corner.
Michael De Jesus, our referee for this, our main event of the evening. Cano and Ochoa. Here we go. It's time to fight.
And Ochoa's trying to get out that quick start. If you're wondering why we've been calling Cano a 3-time world title challenger and Lichtenfeld called him a ex-world champion, it's because the WBA makes 2 world championships per weight class. A little bit confusing. For any of those that follow boxing, they already know the deal. He owned the secondary world championship at 140 pounds for a short time.
But he did not defeat Eric Morales, Sugar Shane Mosley, or the Magic Man, Paulie Malignaggi.
Nice left hook from Zachary Ochoa there. Caught the attention of Cano early, which is very important for Ochoa to do early in this fight. Show him that he's a dangerous guy as well.
Let him go.
In fact, Cano, his biggest battle was the scale in his fight with you, Paulie.
Yeah, he's had disciplinary problems in general in his whole career. You know, with the scale, his training in general. He's underachieved based on the talent that he has because of that.
Well, which is why he's been hit or miss in fights. Sometimes he's a world beater, and sometimes he gets blown out in 2 rounds.
And good action here in round 1.
Ochoa's landed some really good shots so far.
Sometimes he looks like the guy that you talked about earlier in the open, Chris, fought Jorge Linares and knocked him down 3 times, finished him at 228 of round number 1.
And then sometimes he fights a guy like Zorrillo and he gets starched in the 2nd round.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a body shot, right?
Yep. And tonight, Ochoa says Doesn't matter which Cano shows up, I'm going to show up and earn what would be one of the most impressive wins of my career.
Well, you see Ochoa in the corner has Stephen Edwards, one of the more knowledgeable trainers in the sport of boxing. And we talked about the experience Ochoa has in the New York gyms. Well, Edwards in Philadelphia, so you're getting your own brand of experience in those Philadelphia gyms as well.
Well, with the way that Cano's punching right now, there's going to be a lot of opportunities for Ochoa to catch him up top. He's landed a few shots early, but Cano is one of those guys, man. He's coming.
And Paulie, Ochoa did do his 8-week camp in Philadelphia in preparation for this fight.
Another great sparring city.
Let go!
I'll tell you also, you know what? Ochoa has a good chin, man. And I'll tell you what, not just because I'm saying it. You ask Eric Morales, you ask Shane Mosley, Cano's punching power is pretty real, man. So Ochoa just took a couple of good shots. He holds up well. He's a durable guy. And again, that shows that experience in those gyms with top guys. He knows how to handle himself.
And he showed that going up a weight class to take on 24-0 Brandon Lee. Went the distance, lost the decision, but definitely showed his toughness.
Good right hand from Ochoa. I'm telling you, the way that Cano is punching, Ochoa has a lot of opportunities to counter.
And I'll tell you, keep in mind, Cano has a tendency to cut very easily.
10 seconds.
A lot of scar tissue from those 44 professional fights. Scheduled for 10 rounds. Papa in the corner of Pablo.
Bonito, moviéndote y agarrándolo. Lo haces fallar y lo agarras. No tienes golpes de más porque te estás cansando. ¿Lo entiendes? Okay.
First fight since October 29th of last year for Cano. Just 3 fights in the last 5 years for Ochoa.
One thing about Cano, his body shots are very, very sneaky, so keep an eye on those as well. He tends to place those very nicely.
He's very consistent in the first round with the body shots.
Good right hand over the top there by Cano.
Oh, good right hand by
Ochoa. Ochoa follows it with his own chopping right hand.
That's one thing about a guy who's consistent to the body. He leaves his chin open, especially if he's not changing levels.
And he gets a little bit heavy on the front foot, so it's going to give Ochoa an opportunity.
Ochoa changing levels nicely.
This is where Cano's very dangerous.
Cano body, head.
Mixing up. Oh, and you mentioned it. You mentioned it, Paulie, the cuts. Yeah. Oh, big right hand stunned Ochoa.
But man, Cano busy here in round 2.
Yeah, and here's a high contact fight, so that was going to keep this
body shot was nasty.
Yeah. Oh! Big hook, Ochoa's hurt.
He's hurt. He's hurt.
Ochoa's trying to protect the body.
Right here, right now. Cano pouring it on.
Ochoa got hurt to the body. He was trying to protect the head. I mean, he was trying to protect the body, and he forgot about the head, and Cano disguised it well.
He's still hurt.
Cano body, head.
When you see a guy put himself on the ropes, you know his legs aren't there yet.
Right in front of our broadcast position.
Ochoa's got a hold, guys. Ochoa's got a hold.
See, when Cano starts letting his hands go, very dangerous guy.
And it's hard to anticipate him. He places the shots very well, and his shot selection is very creative.
My goodness.
Ochoa's got to throw back.
Cano's looking really close. Knockout number 25. Mixing it up at a frenetic pace.
Cano might be punched out. Cano might be punched out. Ochoa's going to have an opportunity here.
But Cano was smart. He did a lot of body work in all there. Ooh, good shots upstairs from Ochoa.
And Cano's breathing heavy. He's a little bit punched out. Ochoa's going to have an opportunity here.
Paulie and Chris, you guys talked about the toughness of Zachary Ochoa.
Michael De Jesus doesn't know who to warn for low blows. They're both going south.
Cano looks hurt now.
And now it's Ochoa.
We got 10 rounds of action in 2 rounds here.
One thing I'm going to tell you that I know already. It doesn't matter if you cut Cano. This guy's going to fight the whole way.
He's got blood in his eye, didn't even blink.
He's used to it.
Yep. Oh, man. Oh, that body shot again.
Just mixing it up beautifully.
Ochoa is tough as nails, man. He's taking some big shots from a real puncher.
What a round for Cano.
And credit to Ochoa for staying on his feet that round, guys. And you saw the hook. You saw Cano lining it up to the body, looking like he's going solely with, like you said earlier tonight, champ. Sells it to the body and then comes at the head. And then here's the follow-up. Good on Ochoa to stay on his feet.
And Ochoa came back and had some success as well. Like you said, Cano punched himself out a bit.
So you want to be a professional boxer. Round number 3. Cano in his 45th professional bout. 34 years of age today.
You know what, guys? I mean, even if you can't be a professional boxer, on Wednesday night fights, you get all the adrenaline just watching us.
You got that right.
These fights are dynamite.
Again, Cano reaching, man. There's a lot of opportunities for Ochoa to counter over the top.
And I think, as Paulie pointed out, last round, we got to keep a very close eye on the gas tank. Pablo Cesar Cano, because he has come out with that frenetic pace. And let's see if he can keep that type of pace, or at least enough of a pace that Ochoa can't work his way right back into it.
And also, I mean, Cano is cutting a lot of weight. Oh, he fought you at 147. This fight's at 142, 12 years later. So,
again, that hook!
And the fast hands, body, head. Ochoa.
They said do not hook with a hooker. Ochoa got caught trying to hook with the hooker.
And Cano stays going to the body in between. Veteran moves.
Ochoa tried to get in and hold and slow down the attack of Cano, and Cano just slipped away.
Champ, you talked about the durability of Zachary Ochoa. He's showing it here, getting hurt to the body, to the head, and still throwing back.
Still holding his ground.
Cano fighting out of Mexico City, so training at altitude.
And Ochoa's got some power in those shots, too.
Ochoa's got to use his jab a little bit more, guys. He's got opportunities here to jab at Cano. Cano not great with the head movement. He will take jabs if you know how to use it.
Since 2015.
Oh! Nice right hand by Ochoa. But you see, with his left hand, he just paused. He could be controlling a little bit of the distance with a solid jab, and that would control Cano's ability to get inside.
Man, this is a firefight. Still very much on the table.
Trying to weather what is a long early storm from the Demolition Man, Cano. 15 seconds, round 3.
Both these guys have great nicknames. I love Zungri.
Yeah.
But Demolition Man, that's very indicative of the style that Cano fights.
That was a pretty good movie, too.
It was a pretty good movie. Wesley Snipes was a great bad guy.
Yes, he was. Rocky was a good officer.
You see that big left hook that had Ochoa in a world of trouble. Like you said, champ, don't hook with a hooker. Cano got there quicker. Caught Ochoa right in the chin, but Ochoa showing great durability and recovering well each time he's been hurt.
And you saw them working on the cut in Cano's corner. It is under the eyebrow of the left side. His left eye is under the left eyebrow. So you always have to think about the blood going down into his eye. But as Paulie said, he's been cut multiple times. It just keeps coming.
And much worse than that in the past.
Yeah. Since 2015, 4 knockouts in 12 fights for Cano. But man, it looked like he was very close in round 2.
In round 2 and round 3.
Yes, yes.
Oh, big right hand over the top from Zungri.
And this is round 4, and like you guys said earlier, it feels like we've had 10 rounds of action already.
I'm sweating through my suit.
Oh, big overhand right.
But he fell in. He hurt his ability to follow up there. Let's see what he does here.
Cano was smart. He grabbed him around the head there. So even if it did hurt him, you couldn't tell.
I still want to see Ochoa use that jab, because you're going to end up exchanging with Cano, who has a lot more firepower. Instead, you can use your jab and control that range a little bit. And Ochoa has a good jab when he wants to use it. He's just not using it here. He's just pawing with it. And I think that's also from the experience, a lot of the experiences of the gym wars and whatnot. A lot of times guys don't use that jab like they should, because they get into so many gym wars. They used to just pawn with it and trying to exchange firepower.
Ochoa has done multiple camps with Lomachenko, both times in preparation for Devin Haney.
See how Ochoa has success when he gets that left hand moving and educated.
Yeah, it's forcing Cano to move his head to get in. Cano's not the greatest guy for head movement up top, so there's opportunities for Ochoa to time him. I don't think slick would be a word that would be used to describe Cano.
No. He's crafty in his own way, but
crafty, but not slick, yeah. There's that jab.
Big start for Cano. Ochoa trying to work his way right back into this main event. And Paulie, you mentioned the great relationship he has built with Stephen Breadman Edwards. Very essential in this main event of the evening. Right hand from Ochoa.
Ochoa doing much better at avoiding the big shots now, with a little bit of distance between the two.
And there's no way Cano could have kept up the pace that he was setting in the last few rounds.
Well, I don't think he thought he'd still be here.
I would agree with that.
With the output that he was putting out.
See that overhand right there from Ochoa, big shot right behind the ear. He ends up falling in, and Cano's like, all right, dude, let me headlock you and give me a second, myself a second to recover from that.
Listen, that was a good get-back round for Ochoa. I had him winning that round. He landed that big shot. He jabbed well on the outside. He kept Cano off him.
If you keep Cano busy with the jab, it prevents him from setting up the powerful offense that he wants to set up.
5 of Ochoa's 7 knockouts came in his first 10 professional fights. Cano, 4 of his last 5 knockouts have come early. We are in round number 5 of our 10-round main event. Black and silver for Cano, green and red for Ochoa. Mike Goldberg, my powerful partners, the Magic Man, Paulie Malignaggi, Chris Algieri. We have had another great Wednesday night of fights on your boxing channel.
Cano's come out flashing a jab here in round 5. Set up a good right hand over the top. Oh, good left hook. That's the thing. Once he starts jabbing, he hides that left hand, switches it to a left hook seamlessly. Cano does this. He builds. Once he starts touching you, he lets those hands go. He's a good combination puncher, mixes them up really well, changes heights and angles on his combinations as well.
Crafty veteran and Pablo Cesar Cano.
Exchange jab, good exchange jab.
Ochoa hurt him with a right hand.
The proud Puerto Rican whose parents are from the mountains in Puerto Rico, fighting out of Brooklyn. Training camp in Philadelphia, first fight tonight in the state of Florida.
And the sharpness of Ochoa is giving Cano trouble at that mid-range.
How much did Cano take out of his tank trying to finish that fight in round 2 and 3?
And Ochoa living up to his nickname, Zungri. Yep. He came up, he had a fight through a lot of adversity early in this fight, and now he's taking the fight to Cano.
Also, Ochoa is in great shape to recover from those 2 rounds.
Absolutely, Chris.
And firing big shots here, looking very, very sharp.
And he just kind of shook off a nice hook that connected.
And it's not just recovering, champ, it's keeping the winning mentality. Sometimes guys recover, but they stop trying to win. They look to just kind of survive the rest of the way. Ochoa is trying to win this fight after overcoming the adversity, showing character.
Looking very sharp here, picking off Cano.
I hate to do it, guys, but he's staying Zungri. He's staying Zungri for what could be a magnificent win.
Ochoa's having a huge round here.
Yep. And that cut on the left side of the face of Cano getting worse.
That thing gets bigger and bigger.
It's swelling up.
Those right hands are not going to help. There's another one.
Ochoa, little flash there. A lot of confidence. Tide's starting to turn in that round.
I mean,
boom!
Great call by the referee not stopping this fight in round 2 and 3. Yeah. Look at what Zachary Ochoa was able to do in that last round. Fighting really well from the outside, like you said, champ, keeping that Zungri mentality to keep wanting to win.
The battle continues, our main event of the evening, round 6.
Momentum has definitely shifted.
No question. 21-3, the record of Zachary Ochoa. 34-8-1, 1 no contest, 24 knockouts for the 3-time world title challenger, Cano.
Cano just has so many defensive holes on the outside. Ochoa is just really landing whatever he wants. Right hands over the top, jabs to the body. When he's got that jab going, Cano doesn't see the punches coming.
And now with the Cano fatigue, I mean, it's going to make it easier for Ochoa to control with that lead hand if he's educated, if he stays educated with it. That lead hand can make life a lot easier for Ochoa once he's got a tired opponent in front of him.
Cano thought he would already be celebrating with his birthday cake after the onslaught of punches he landed in rounds 2 and 3.
That right hand just opened up the cut again.
Nice right hand there by Cano as well, but Ochoa holding his ground.
Did we get a ruling on that cut, whether it was a headbutt or a legal punch?
I have not heard anything about a headbutt, but given what both you guys have talked about in Cano and the scar tissue, I have a feeling it's just an old wound that was reopened by the right hand of Zachary Ochoa.
Well, that thing's starting to look really nasty, so
yeah,
that could play a big role in this fight.
And especially under the eyebrow, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, it's along the outside of the eye. It doesn't seem like the blood is getting into the eye.
Oh, my goodness! cut by the eye.
Ochoa's got a hold, guys. Ochoa's got a hold. He's got a hold on here.
Cano looking to finish right here, right now. It is all over. Happy birthday, Pablo Cesar Cano. Wow.
Ochoa's still arguing, but he's not even standing straight.
Yeah, but that, you know, the only other time that Ochoa was stopped was a very similar situation. And like you said, Champ, still never learned how to hold.
You gotta learn how to hold. You gotta have the survival instincts. Unfortunately, not enough people work on them or talk about them in the gym because you never plan on getting stopped. But look at, again, hook right hand. You're gonna see a beautiful hook right here by Cano. This guy's very beautiful right there. This guy's just the way it's meant to be delivered. The hook is meant to take your eyes away from the center, and then the right hand comes up the center.
Beautiful foot position with Cano. That's why he has so much power on that right hand.
Yeah, he uses the hook to kind of close that gap a sec.
Bang. Yep.
And Ochoa never saw it coming because he bit on the hook. And this is the stoppage here. Ochoa, like we were talking about, Jim, you got to hold here. You got to hold. You got to give the referee an option, though. De Jesus is not he's not going to stop it if you give him an option to not stop it. He didn't stop it early in the fight when Ochoa was hurt. He would have given you a chance, but you got to hold. You got to give the referee a break here. Ochoa does not hold. Cano with a big stoppage win. Come from behind after the momentum was going with them the direction of Ochoa.
And I know Ochoa's arguing, but if you're not going to hold, you have to punch. Yeah. If you're not punching, I mean, it's just too many punches in a row.
And when they stopped it, they were holding Ochoa up. I mean, somebody, I don't know who it was, that had to come in the ring. Ochoa almost fell over.
And it was against Ulysses Jr. back in 2017, Chris, the fight that you were alluding to the other time Ochoa was stopped.
And this was such a good fight because the momentum was all with Cano. Then it looked like it was all with Ochoa, and then it just emphatically ended all of a sudden.
But that's a veteran move right there. I mean, Cano brought his energy level down. He knew he punched himself out a little bit and set up his feet for a perfect shot.
And you feel for Ochoa, man, because, dude, guys hit the canvas, hit their head on the canvas when they go down like that. They usually don't get up that fast. He wanted the referee to, he wouldn't want to give the referee an option to stop the fight. He got up as fast as he could, but he just didn't have the instincts to survive.
We spoke about the toughness and the durability, and we're going to see that here in the recap. You know, he landed some big shots early on because there was opportunities to counter Cano. There you see the blood over the eye. That was that trick shot. You know, he got hit to the body, and then he came back upstairs to the left hook in the second round. Cano went for the finish. Third round, catches him again with the left hook.
Hooking with the hooker there.
And Cano went in for the finish, punched himself out at times, which allowed Ochoa to come back and look brilliant in some of those rounds.
This boxing thing, man, it's a game of inches, especially at the higher levels.
Even less than inches.
And it's just...
Oh, man.
And you feel it for Ochoa. Look how fast he gets up, man. You know he's hurt. He hit his head on the canvas, man.
No, Ochoa's tough. There's no question about his heart.
Ochoa was trying to argue there, but he was done.
To make our main event official, here is Mark Lichtenfeld.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Michael De Jesus stops this contest at 1 minute 57 seconds of the 6th round. Your winner by technical knockout, el ganador por knockout técnico, ahora el campeón continental del Norte America de la WBA, and now the WBA Continental America's champion, Pablo Cesar
25th career victory by knockout on his 34th birthday. Congratulations to Pablo Cesar Cano.
Man, I told you this guy hits hard.
Yep. Finishes the fight. Our main event is in the books. We'll wrap things up on a Wednesday night on ProBox TV right after this. weeks from tonight, it's Bulletproof Brandon Glanton looking to return to his winning ways, seeking professional victory 18, perhaps professional knockout 15. His opponent, the 6'3", 25-year-old Cuban demolition man, 12-1 Carlos Romenta, whose only loss came in his professional debut. Join us for all the action 2 weeks from tonight. That is Wednesday, October 18th, here on ProBox TV. Here is the finish.
Big shot. The shots you don't see coming, man.
Yeah.
And Cano made sure he didn't see it coming by throwing that decoy left hook.
In the fight before, in the co-main event, we were talking about Salcido and his footwork, and he was so square, it wasn't positioned. That was perfect footwork from Cano there. He had his right foot behind him, turned that right hand over, and there he goes for the finish.
So we know coming in the Cano, it had been a bit, but the Cano can finish a fight. We also knew, Paulie, that Ochoa was very tough. In the end, though, you guys both talked about it. I think Cano did take the foot off the gas pedal a little bit, re-energized himself, and then bam, got himself the finish.
I don't know, man. You know, one thing about Cano, he's never out of the fight. I can remember my fight with him. I had him cut up. I mean, I had him looking like he went through a windmill. And I remember almost relaxing mentally, thinking like, okay, I'm going to cruise here.
Yeah.
He's just going to try, but he's not. And he just kept up in the ante, you know? So he's got that Mexican warrior blood, and you can kind of see it, and it stays with him, you know? He looked like he punched himself out early in this fight, and it looked like Ochoa was going to take over. But Cano just doesn't stop believing in himself. He's not that kind of fighter. So he was thinking his way through it. Even if it wasn't going his way for a couple of rounds, he was thinking his way through it. And to set that trap the way he did it, you're thinking even though you're tired. And that's what I mean. He's used to this. He's used to having a function in that warrior mentality. And of course, Zungri himself, Ochoa, hungry all the time. I mean, he didn't want to stop. He doesn't realize how hurt he was.
He jumped right back up after he was hurt very badly, Chris, but Cano was not going to leave it in the hands of the judges. He wasn't going to fight any longer. Well, don't get paid by the minute.
There's only so many opportunities you can give a guy like Cano. That was the third time that he had Ochoa in trouble, and Ochoa was not grabbing. He wasn't punching back in those opportunities, and that's why he got stopped that third time that he was hurt. The first two, the ref made a great decision, allowed him to fight, because like you said, Ochoa took over in those rounds, was looking brilliant, boxing from the outside. And it looked to me like, I mean, Cano's outpunched and outclassed now. And then bang, he comes back with that veteran shot, and that time he put the stamp on it and finished it.
The plethora of punches for the finish, very similar to what we saw in the second and third round, and so Cano a well-deserved victory here on a Wednesday night. Trevor Thonson stays unbeaten as a professional, moves to 9-0. Jose Arellano victorious over Oscar Alvarez Jr. And then Panama's own Jose Nunez. In the battle of unbeatens, he keeps his own and moves to 16-0-2. And then Cano, in the main event of the evening, earns the victory by knockout, the 25th knockout of his professional career. For my powerful partners, the Magic Man Paulie Malignaggi, Chris Algieri, Mike Goldberg, saying so long until next time. We see you right back here on ProBox TV.